Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's R&B Monday. It is Memorial Day here in America, and that is recognized as what they call a bank holiday, meaning, generally speaking, corporations have the day off. And so you've just got me today. Unfortunately, for you. No. But what is Memorial Day? Memorial Day is the day that we remember those that came before us that paved the way for the life that we live today here in America. Their bravery and their fighting spirit is one to be honored, recognized, admired, and to, I would say, take in as something that we should think of today. Like, what kind of bravery do we need today? What kind of um, fighting spirit do we need today so that we can help to be there for other people? You know, I often talk about serving, and that when we, no matter what kind of mood you're in, no matter what you're dealing with, if you go with an attitude of servitude, it makes everything better, I promise. And so what we didn't want to do is we didn't want to leave you dark today. We wanted to still be here for you and to be with you in this day, even though it's, generally speaking, as I mentioned, an American holiday. And so we're lucky enough that the people who help us put this on are a company that are non-Americans. They're over in the UK, Wolf and White. So give it up to Wolf and White because they're absolutely amazing and do so many things. They've helped us do so many things. All of our live events that we used to do at Redkin, into the future of many of our online events. And then we have some global inspiration from around the world. We have Hayley coming to us from South Africa. We have Michelle Marshall coming to us from the United Kingdom. And Ludovic Beckers is from Belgium. And I have just been given word that it is also a bank holiday in the UK. So we'll give them an even bigger applause. Thank you, Wolf and White, as well as Michelle Marshall, for showing up today for your bank holiday. We'll find out later what that means from Michelle and exactly what they are celebrating or what they're honoring today. But again, thank you for joining us today. If you are in America and you're joining us, thank you for spending your day off. It's traditionally a day that is spent a lot in parks, at beaches, lots of people, probably the busiest day at the beach outside of what we call Labor Day, which is in September. Lots of, I think it traditionally goes with barbecuing hot dogs and hamburgers and potato chips and probably some beer or something along that nature. Anyway, so we have a really exciting time for you today. Just know that it's going to be me. So if I'd love for you to make sure that you're asking all of your questions, please put them into the chat box. And it might take me a minute, but I promise that I'll get to all of your questions. We've got a lot of exciting things to talk about today and to share with you. So for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, RMB, it's Raise My Bar, and this was an idea that was born in the very initial stages of the sort of this global crisis that we're going into. And honestly, I think that when we try to look at the things that are happy, when we look at the silver lining, if you will, I think that one of the silver linings is that we fast tracked on some ideas that we'd had for quite some time, which is how can we break down these proverbial walls of brands and come together, artists serving artists, with technical information, with upskilling in business, as well as how to take care of ourselves as an industry. That's really what R&B is all about. And so every week we bring to you people from all over the industry, from all over the world, and from various different brands, and some non-industry people, like Jason Everett, who we've had in the past, who can help us to, really upskill ourselves in this thing, this professional industry that we're in. So with if you are joining for the first time and you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, and there's a little bell next to it, and that bell will give you a reminder or a notification whenever anything new goes up, because outside of Mondays here, we also have we also put videos up often, and we also take these Mondays and we cut them into smaller pieces and we put them on for you to watch later so you can get to information and content in a much quicker fashion. So please subscribe, please hit the little bell button, please tell your friends about us, and let's continue being artists, hairstylists that support other artists and hairstylists, no matter who we are, no matter what brand, no matter where we live. And so for that, I'm super excited. What I'd love to do is I'd love to invite our very first guest onto the platform here. Her name is Hayley. She's actually education manager for Matrix in South Africa. And we thought it'd be great to bring you perspectives of things that are happening around the world. And Hayley has been super supportive and excited about all of the education that's happening and bringing that to her local teams in South Africa. She's joined forces or locked arms with the Redkin folks. She specifically works with Matrix and has been really just putting out there all of the things that are possible to be able to help the community in South Africa. And I definitely wanted to spend some time with Hayley here so that we can just find out what she's doing and how are some ways that you too can help your team, whether that's a team as a brand, a team as a hairstylist, or even your family team that's at home. So please welcome Hayley. Hi, Hayley.
Hi, SHERI. Hello, and happy Memorial Day.
Thank you. Thank you. It's yeah, Memorial Day. I wasn't close with my family growing up, my extended family, or I guess my ancestors, you'd call it. So I'm not entirely sure um, you know, who I have that was impacted by the fight for our freedom in the past, but I do know that there's lots of people who fight every day, whether that is in what would be called a global war or smaller challenges and plights across America. And when they do that, they help all of us to live a better life. And I'm all about living best. You know that.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So, Hayley, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself? I've let them know that you live in South Africa, but let them know who you are and what you do.
So, I'm Hayley. I'm a 40-year-old girl who is married with a son. SHERI, growing up for me, I was always, and I still love dancing. And on a Sunday, my dance studio teacher would actually take us to perform at a children's hospital, the ward it was kids with leukemia. And these kids would come with wigs on their hair and it would like change their lives of how they felt, SHERI. And I just knew that I wanted to change someone's life. And school wasn't exactly for me. I was more the creative kind of person. And I always found myself sitting on the playgrounds and braiding my friends' hair. And Saturday nights before we went out, I was always the girl doing the hair and made everyone feel amazing. And I knew this is what I wanted. So I then left school in end of grade 8 and off I went to hair and cosmetology. School where I absolutely excelled. I knew this is what I wanted to do. And then I went to do my apprenticeship. So apprenticeships aren't easy. And I always say, if you fulfill apprenticeship, you know this is what you're born to do. The long hours, the tedious days, but I wrote my resignation letter mostly every day. And then I tore it up because I knew that everyone believed in me and this was for me. So I then qualified and I started at the salon where I did my apprenticeship. I qualified, I built a nice clientele, and then I decided I needed to spread my wings. I wanted a little bit more. So I went on to work on, funny enough, Disney Cruise Lines.
Oh,
for 3 years. Yes.
Amazing.
3 years. Mickey and Minnie. Yeah, that's the kind of girl I am. Live in the Disney world. But after 3 years, I knew that it was actually time to come and settle back. And when I came back to South Africa, I knew I wanted to be part of a team, but I didn't want to just be behind the chair. I wanted to do, SHERI, my quote every day is knowledge is power, but as long as you're sharing it.
Oh,
And that's what I wanted to do. I'm a people's person, and I wanted to just connect with people and share my knowledge. So I was lucky enough to find an education position, which I thought was just so good to be true, and working with an amazing team. And 11 years later, here I am,
oh,
education and loving my life.
oh, amazing. That's amazing. There's so many great nuggets about what you just shared, Hayley. First of all, I have never taken a long format cruise, but I have taken like those 3 day cruises. And I'd like to say that I loved them. I'm a little nervous about them these days, but hopefully the cruise industry will find an amazing way to keep everybody safe, that for all those people who love doing cruises. But what an adventure I'm sure that is hanging out with Mickey and Minnie and just being on a cruise. Hopefully you got time to see various places while you were out there. What I loved as well is just that you said, I mean, I love the story of you being a young girl and going in and seeing these children who were probably definitely in a place where that was confusing and upsetting, and maybe where they weren't feeling the best about themselves, and how something as simple as wearing a wig could change how they were feeling. And then that inspired you to want to get into an industry that helped other people to feel better about themselves. And I think that I speak for all of the hairdressers who are watching today, that that is our ultimate goal, is to help those that sit in our chairs to feel amazing about themselves, and to help them also to listen to all of the things that they're sharing with us, so that we can help overcome those, or at least be an ear to help listen to those. I've got some first. Lori Zabel's on here, and she is saying that South Africa is on her bucket list. And Lori, South Africa is on my bucket list as well. It has been. I almost went last year, and then now I remember why I didn't go, but something prevented me from going, which is a little bit sad. We've got a lot of great people here who I think are from your country, who are saying how much they love you. And I couldn't agree more. You've got such great energy. And that energy is what makes you, just the perfect person that has this drive to want to share this knowledge. Knowledge is power, so long as you're sharing it. And I think that's such a great, I hear all the time, knowledge is power. But adding that caveat on there actually makes it feel so much better, because I think sometimes, people hoard knowledge, right? And that's never good. In fact, it's sort of like they say, that what you giveth, you get back 100-fold or 10-fold, or whatever it is that you believe. And I think that, sharing knowledge just allows you to have much more knowledge. So thank you for sharing that, Hayley, and for obviously sharing all of the passion and love for the hairdresser for the last 11 years in South Africa. So tell us a little bit about, I know you had an address from the government last night. Tell everyone about the situation that you're facing right now as it relates to COVID-19 in South Africa.
So, SHERI, we were addressed last night by the president, and I was hoping that it would be better news. We were on lockdown, level 5 lockdown. So today is 60 days of lockdown. We then moved to level 4. Level 4. And then last night, when the president addressed the nation, we were really hoping, after all like the hard work of our hair industry, L'Oreal's a company, the Bargaining Council, really going and trying to get our levels pushed as hairstylists in South Africa, or the industry. But unfortunately, it wasn't. So, but SHERI, in saying that, today is a new day. And we're strong. We creative people. We're strong. We know that nothing is going to get us down. It just can't. It can't. We're going to come back stronger, and we're going to think of amazing ideas, what we're going to do as an industry over this time, and work together.
Excellent. Excellent in the sense that you are talking about the strength of the stylists and the people who are in the professional industry there in South Africa. It is a strong group. I know many South Africans who have that strength and mentality and will get it done, and I appreciate that. So the news came out last night. The president addressed last night. You've had all day today because you are some hours ahead of me. How has the response been from those who you've spoken to?
So people are down, SHERI. People are on survival mode and feeling like they need to do what they need to do. You know, some salons, and I'm just going to be honest, talk like they scared, and I think it's the unknown. Understandable, like the unknown. We really thought that we were going back on level 3. And now we weren't. So what is the unknown? We're just waiting to see. So I think that's what's terrifying, is the unknown of when people are going to go back and when they're going to see their clients.
Mm-hmm.
You know, SHERI, we are face to face. We people. We just want to be with people, and I think this has been very, very, very hard in terms of not being able to see our clients. They miss us and we miss them terribly.
Yeah, yeah, it's true, Haley. I have this thing where every now and then I talk about just wanting to hug somebody, and inevitably, every time I do, I start to get really teary, like I'm going to get right now, because I just, so we as hairdressers are very, we love, right? And we love our customers, we love our other hairstylist friends, and I think that's what's got me the most down, is the lack of hugging. And that's only because we get to do things like this all the time, right? Like I've had several phone chats with you where we're live, and actually only just met you this year, and yet we've had several phone chats together, and you can get together with your friends um, on video, which leads me to my next. I feel like I've been beating this drum since the beginning of March, which is all about, doing video consultations. And I think that I said recently on one of the lives that I actually believe if I were still standing behind the chair in the salon, that I would have kept all of my clients' appointments and I would have done them via video. And whether that was at the beginning of the lockdown to help them understand how to look good when they have to do their own meetings via video for work, or to answer any of their concerns as it relates to their hair. Um, in those initial stages, we talk about how people have partners who've never seen them with regrowth before. They get up, in fact, before their partner gets up in the morning, and make sure all their makeup and everything's on, and how to handle that. And then towards the end of their second appointment, if they were in that spot where they would have had a second appointment, making sure I'm talking about what they want when they go back, right? So before, I was a client who had 01B on my regrowth, and if needed on my ends, either 01B or another formula, and that's Shades EQ. It's a black. And then I also did a non-formal hair straightener. And maybe if I were your client and you were planning on that, then I might say, well, you know what? Now that I've got this regrowth where I'm much lighter, well, maybe not much lighter, but lighter, and I'm wearing my hair curly, do I want that same appointment? So, for me, I think it's all about, how are we treating that time? Because what I've said, and I'll say it again, so if you've heard me, hopefully you hear it this time and pass it along, is that there was a study done where 86% of women, and this was not an industry study, said that they would prefer to tell their deepest, darkest secret to their hairdresser versus their best friend, their partner, or their therapist. And so I think what we have to remember is that we are there for them in a way that's much more than just how we transform their hair. We're there as a confidant. We're there as someone they confide in. They look forward to seeing us and sharing with us. And now more than ever, they need that. So I would definitely, to all of your salons out there, make sure that you put the message out there, Hayley, that, you know, the president just told us that we're not going to make it in phase 3. We're still in phase 4. Get on a video conference. And if, you know, if we feel bad, our clients are probably feeling worse. And it goes back to that serving thing. Serve them by making them feel more comfortable, finding out how they feel, finding out what's going on.
And SHERI, I completely agree. By you saying that, I just want to like see us in the darkest secret. You know, a client phoned me last week and she was actually saying to me, actually a friend called me last week and she was saying to me, you know, my daughter is turning 14 and I promised her on her 14th birthday that she was going to have her hair some nice unicorns colors in her hair, and she was just going to be spoiled at the salon. And now she's having a little bit of a meltdown because it's her birthday and she can't do it. And I thought to myself, you know what, we're going to take the positive. We're not going to worry about that. And I actually phoned the salon owner and I said, you know, we need to try and help everyone out there. So I don't know if you guys have got a house party in America, but we've got an app called House Party. I mean, who wouldn't want it? Just the word house party, who wouldn't want to join that, right?
Right.
So I thought to myself, for salons over this time, why not connect? Here we go, 14-year-old girl having a birthday. Let's
Okay, so I know that sometimes the signal is not always amazing, and so we've lost Hayley, but I'm sure the team backstage is working really diligently on getting her back. While we're waiting for her to come back, I just wanted to address some of the questions that are coming in. Yes, Shelly really wants to hug everybody. Me too. They say we can maybe go back to work soon, but still with 6 feet social distancing, and I'm like, no, I want to go back to work when I can hug everybody. Obviously still working from home. So Taryn, yes, we are still on lockdown here. There have been some lightening, I guess, of some of the restrictions. More businesses are opening, but still social distancing, still wearing a mask if you're going to be around persons, etc. And let's see, our signal is shocking today. Taryn, what does that mean? Your signal is shocking today. You can go ahead and write to me and let me know what that means, and I will try to answer that. But just to go back, I'll try and pick up where Hayley was leaving off, because I think it's such an amazing thing as we're reaching out to our clients via video, finding out, do they have a party that's coming up, whether that's for themselves, the birthday party for a family or friend member, and is there some way that we can help them to be there for them in this time of celebration? It looks like we have Hayley back, so let's bring her back in. Hayley, welcome back.
Sorry, SHERI, technology.
No
you know,
worries.
SHERI, and Steve will agree with you. It's not my strong point. It's not my strong point.
No worries. No worries. I think you've come a really long way since the day that we first started speaking, Hayley. And you know what? Everything new it takes a while to get to know. So don't you worry about it. Your love and positive energy are enough. And, you know, when you pop off for just a second, I just keep on talking. So don't worry. Okay.
Thank you. And we do lots of celebrations, right?
Yes, that's right. So a little high five celebration to you. That's right. Excellent. Very good. The Taryn Bloom is saying in South Africa, the connection is just bad in general as it relates to Wi-Fi. I'm sorry about that. You know, it's probably blowing up with everyone talking to everyone else about the message that came from the president yesterday. So maybe there's a lot of strain on the Wi-Fi signals that are helping out, that are going out there. Taryn and others, thank you for commenting on my hair. I don't know what's going on. Every day where the weather is different here in New York, it looks different. It's getting a little long. I'm just going with it. I'm going with it, Hayley. I'm going with it. So Hayley, you work with a team of stylists as well. That are part of the education team. And so tell us a little bit about what that looks like. What does your team look like there in South Africa?
So Matrix is run by a distribution model. We're very blessed to have distributors who are so passionate about the Matrix brand. We have a phenomenal marketing team, an education team that is absolutely supportive. But I think, SHERI, what I love is that PPD with all our brands, and I mean, coming from PPD, is we've got amazing brands, and Redken and Matrix and L'Oreal. I mean, the L'Oreal education manager, I mean, she inspires me and believes in everything that I've done. She was my manager. And South Africa, it's all about teamwork. It's all about teamwork. And I think over this time, SHERI, we've definitely learned to really work together. And I think if you're not part of the team at the moment, you need to come back and be part of that team. Show up, SHERI. Whatever it is, whatever role you play, this is the time to play it. So whether it's in a salon, whether it's in corporate, just come and help, because I also feel like owners, salon owners, they, guys, I just want to also say is don't be so hard on the owners or salon owners. They're feeling it at the moment. So just whether you can bring in your young spunk of social media, bring that to the table, your amazing ideas, but everyone definitely plays a role. And I have to say, I'm very, very blessed in the team and the family that I have, from my clients to PPD to Matrix to everything. I've got a great team.
Excellent. Hayley, I love talking about teams. So I'm going to round out that conversation, and then there's something that you said that I want to hit on after that. So are there certain things that you are doing to keep the team connected or inspired or creative? What are you doing to sort of ignite the passion within the team?
So definitely this R&B, South Africa. So, SHERI, I woke up after following you and Alfredo and seeing this amazing initiative of the American brands. Like, this is not about brands. This is about our clients in the industry, and that we're all in it together. And I woke up, obviously, with the time difference. You guys, all your feeds are a little bit later than us. And I believe if I'm waking up and brainstorming, I share it with everyone. If I'm thinking it, they need to think it. So I feel like this at the moment is a project of myself and Richard in South Africa. And I really feel like it's the most amazing project that we're working on, because at the end of the day, this is about our clients. And we just want to give them as much as possible. So that, this has been a great initiative. So thank you, SHERI and Alfredo, for putting this together, and your beautiful team. And then we're doing lots of education. I think everyone is, if you're not being educated over that time, then this time you're never going to be educated, SHERI. I mean, there's just education everywhere at your fingertips.
Yeah.
So lots of videos, but I think really that people just need like a lot of inspiration at the moment. I think that's what people are looking for.
Excellent. Well, we've got some amazing inspiration coming up in just a little bit. We have Ludovic Beckers from Belgium. If you don't follow him, make sure you're following him, because his work is incredible. It's innovative. It's also slightly provocative, which I love, because it tests you to be able to open your mind even more to the various things that you can do in this amazing industry. And after that, we have Michelle Marshall, who does amazing color, and she's out of the UK. We've got Franz is saying that you're helping by just being your bubbly and fun energy. So you've got a lot of love coming from South Africa. Candice is loving the South African educators. positive messages on social media. So lots of love to all of the stylists in South Africa who are following the South African team, right? Lots of love. So if you aren't exposed right now to the team in South Africa, please follow Hayley, and her social handle is right under her beautiful self that's live. And Hayley can make sure that she's tagging and promoting all of the amazing educators, artists, stylists that are in South Africa, that you can get inspiration from South Africa as well, because I think it's always great to get inspiration from all over the world. Now, Hayley, you had said something in the discussing how to inspire the team and how to be there for one another, which is to be gentle. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but to be gentle on the salon owners. And so, can you give me a little bit of background, or give our audience a little bit of background of what's happening? Why do we? What's happening that we're not being gentle?
So, okay. So, sorry, maybe I rephrased it wrong. So people are being gentle, but I think just bosses in general, SHERI, whether it be salon owner, whether it be your boss in the corporate world, I think just bosses in general just need a little bit extra love at the moment. You know, I
Yeah.
feel like they are holding everything together, plus their personal families and whatever it is, but they're really holding it together. And I think we just need to show them a little bit extra love and find out how they're doing. Not like really from our hearts, caring, SHERI.
Yeah.
I just think a little bit of love, just be kind to your bosses at the moment.
I love that. And yes, I think you know, whenever I speak with various stylists, or when we're doing these types of things, whereby, you know, we have comments, some of the questions come along because you have different stylists, you have different salon owners, right? You have some who are facing this with strength and leadership. They're guiding their teams, they're taking on you know, really like being directive with what should happen, so that their team knows and feels the strength for, you know, within that leadership. And then I've heard that there are some others who just, I mean, by nature, they're a little bit more nervous. And so and who knows what's going on in their own life, and they're struggling a little bit right now, right? And so they're struggling to even communicate. And in fact, I've heard that there's some salon owners like just not even communicating at all during lockdown because they don't know what to say. And I think that either way, if we are stylists in a salon, our role is to support and, to your point, be grateful for our salon owner, right? And sometimes we don't know the shoes that that person is walking in. We don't know what's going on. We don't know, you know, for salon owners, obviously, I'd say if you can step up and lead your team. You know, as a salon owner, it is your responsibility to guide and direct and help people understand how to navigate this new way of being in lockdown, this new way of coming out of lockdown, this new way of operating in the salon. If for some reason you're a salon owner that it just is insurmountable because you are almost paralyzed and unable to share that message, find the leader in the salon and let them do it. You know, it doesn't there has to be communication to the team. The lack of communication means that you make up, you know, the person makes up stories in their head. They make up stories about what's going on. They make up stories about you know, whether things are good or bad. And you want to leave as little ambiguity as possible. And if you can't do that for yourself, then find a salon stylist, find one of your stylists who has the strength to be able to do that. And then as stylists, you know, just sort of, if your salon owner hasn't done that, they can't step up on their own, and they haven't identified someone else, then you be that person. You step up, you speak to your salon owner, you find out how you can help be the messenger to the rest of the team. And simultaneously, you're right, Hayley, giving them the honor because, just recognizing that they've got a lot on their shoulders. They have a lot on their shoulders. So I think that that's great. Let's see, we've got lots of, you've
And I
got,
love also, Sherry, I love what you said about, just like stepping up to the plate and playing your part. Is that like salon owners have got a lot going on, and bosses, and I also feel that just helping support, whether you phoning the clients, your clients, and just reaching out to them. I think it's very, very important. But I love what you're saying. Just everyone take responsibility.
yep, exactly. Take responsibility. Now more than ever. Now more than ever, right? Let's see. You've got so many hearts, so many people love you, Hayley, and I have grown to love you from afar. One day I will be in South Africa and get to see you and Richard and all of the teams there, and I can't wait for that to happen. Outside of all of this, because as you said, you gave a very good description of yourself. You're married, you've got a child. I won't repeat your age just in case you don't want it repeated. But what are some things, me either. What are some things that you are doing for yourself? How are you caring for yourself during this time? Because you are, I can tell by all of this, you are a beacon of light and hope and positivity and inspiration to so many. You've got a husband, you've got a child, and you've got this own weight on your shoulders. So what are you doing to take care of yourself?
So, what am I doing? I am definitely taking a bit of time out, to quality time to spend in the morning as a family, because we never really got to do that, Sherry. We never really got to connect. Everyone's just lives such busy lives, and I
Yeah,
think that as much as this is crazy, what's going on in this world, like it really has, there's some good. I know that may sound crazy, but there is some good that has come out of this. Really connecting with my son. I just, like a lot of working moms, I work a long day, I travel a lot. So this has really given me time to spend with my son and feel like I'm not missing out on a lot of
nice.
what he's doing. Don't know about the homeschooling, but besides that, I'm loving spending some time with him.
Yeah, God bless every parent out there that is now homeschooling their child that I'm sure never even wanted to sign up for that job. It is
Agree.
I see a lot of I've become addicted a little bit to TikTok, not making videos. I'm no good at that. I've thrown a couple up there just to have, but to watching it at the end of the day, it gives me loads and loads of laughter, to be very honest, and just takes my mind just off of anything that's too heavy. And so I've seen all these memes or these videos of like homeschooling parents, that are like pouring giant glasses, basically pouring the wine and then just drinking out of the wine bottle. And, there's that meme that's floating around that says, if you think now's bad, wait till our countries are run by children who have been homeschooled by alcoholics, which I think is,
I
like,
love
oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, but God bless you, because I saw a couple where it said, to all of the teachers that I argued with you that my son or daughter was, absolutely not difficult during their parent teacher review. I'm sorry, because you go to those parent teacher reviews and they're like, they don't pay attention, they're a class clown, and you're like, no, they are not.
That's not my son. That's not my
Yeah,
son.
they are angels, and then all of a sudden you're like, ah.
So, SHERI, we were also lucky enough over this time with our clients is that we were lucky enough on level 5, which was our shutdown, to actually be able to sell retail to our clients, which I think like over that time, every client wants to support their salon, whether they need it or whether they don't need the retail. And they just want to support. The amount of support that's been given to the stylists is just, there's kind people out there, SHERI, and this has really been a time that people have been showing it, the stories, and just support your stylist. So what's really been nice is that we've been able to give the retail. Our blonde, our So Silver shampoo is double the amount of sales, and our Brass Off Blue shampoo has tripled. So that's always a good one. But what I found is that a lot of the stylists are now actually going themselves to deliver the products just to be able to see their clients.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome because that's what the client wants, to see them. And then also over the beginning of the lockdown, which I thought was really amazing, is that our distributors were really feeling for salons that weren't able to get an income. And they were, the stylists would recommend product to their clients. The client would receive it from the distributor, and actually the salon would get a commission. So it was really doing nothing but getting an income to help you. So thank you to the distributors for putting that initiative and helping the stylist out there. I really think that was awesome.
Excellent. Excellent, Hayley. I love that they're doing that as well. And, certainly I'm excited to see all of the things that you do every single day. I know I'm so grateful that you tag me and let me know what's going on. What's going on in your area and how you're supporting the stylists. I'll continue, of course, to try and share that and get on whenever I can. And I just want to thank you one more time for your bubbly, amazing spirit. Like everyone else has said here in the chat box, they're so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for you, and that you reached out and started the initiative of sharing everything that's happening worldwide with the local stylists. It's and the community. And I'm definitely grateful to hear your perspective on what's going on in South Africa today and all of the things that you've done to sort of keep the positivity going, keep the spirits alive. And I love, of course, I love everything you said. And there were a few key points that I really wanted to hit on once again and remind everybody, just in case you've just joined, and that is about the salon owner and leadership. It's time for our salon owners to be leaders, to step up as leaders. While your stylists are learning how to be better stylists for when they come back, salon owners take this time to learn how to be better leaders. And if you are a salon owner you're dealing with something that makes it insurmountable for you to be able to connect on an everyday basis or often with your team, then find somebody in your team you can rely on, and everyone take responsibility for helping each other in this amazing time. So Hayley, before we sign off, is there anything you'd like to say to the people who are watching, many of whom I think are from South Africa?
So first I'd like to say, SHERI, to you and your team, you guys inspire us. I mean, we look at you and you're all icons and inspiration. And over this time, besides lockdown, I would never, ever have imagined to be able to connect with all you amazing people on board. So thank you for that. But to the South African market and our industry and our team, like, we are going to get through this. As I said, I may live in a bit of a dream world, but I pray to the hair gods. They're going to answer my prayers.
Yes.
And we are going to get through this stronger, because we're an unbelievable, creative, amazing, dynamic industry. And as long as we all on the right path and sticking together, we've got this. And
Yes.
stronger together. And SHERI, from Richard and myself in South Africa, and from the whole PPD family and the whole industry, thank you guys for also keeping us inspired over this time.
It's our pleasure. It's not only our pleasure, it is what we all live for. And just like you, my mission is to learn something new every day and to share with as many people as possible every day. And that was a mission statement I wrote when I was 19 years old. And am so blessed that almost, okay, so I have to do math really quick. So next month, that will be 30 years ago that I wrote that. I know, isn't it?
Oh
Shocking.
my word.
Yeah, I'll be 49. June 21st, everybody. 49. Hurtling towards 50. Unbelievable.
Well, I know what I'm going to get you for your birthday. The most beautiful tiara anyone could ever find, SHERI.
Aw, you're so cute. Hayley, I've been watching RuPaul's Drag Race, which I have never watched before, so I'm only on season 3. But I was thinking, I really need to step up my sparkle and tiara game.
You're amazing.
Oh, thank you. So are you, Hayley. Thank you for joining us and being a part of this. And thank you for everything that you do to help the stylists out there. We really, really appreciate you. Big, big love to you and all of the stylists in South Africa, all my friends in South Africa.
You too.
And as soon as I can, I'm coming to visit.
We're taking you up on that, and this was a privilege. Thank you, SHERI.
Thank you. That was amazing spending some time. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, just hearing and understanding what's going on around this big, beautiful world of ours, with our family, our professional family that live all over the world, and just hearing what they're going through. We know that the entire world is in various states of reopen, and we're hearing all sorts of things. So we've got our friends who have not yet reopened, and they are still consuming all of this education and luckily benefiting from those who have reopened some of the things that they're going through. We've got our friends who have reopened every Thursday night at 9 p.m. I know it's late for a lot of people, but at 9 p.m. New York City time, Braden and myself do, Braden Peltier, one of the artists here and salon owner in Atlanta, Georgia, do something called Old Fashions and New Business, where we are following or tracking his back to business every week. We look at what's been working, what are some of the challenges, how has he overcome them, how are his stylists managing, how are his clients managing, has anything come up where somebody didn't want to comply with the new regulations, and he's helping to walk us through that. That's on the Redken page. Again, that's Old Fashions and New Business on the Redken Instagram page, live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or as I like to say, New York City time. For those of you that do not get to see it, it stays up on IGTV on Redken, and you have our past episodes are up right now where you can go back and see a tour of how Braden opened his salon and some of the things that they've been going through. We have some comments that I'd like to just bring up here. Candace is doing morning meditations, and they've changed her life during this time. I love that, Candace. And meditation doesn't have to be something, big. It can be simply laying in bed and, whatever your morning ritual is to sort of center yourself. And I like to do gratitude. So I start the morning with a little bit of a prayer. And then I do my morning gratitude. I name all of the things that I'm grateful for, and that puts me in a really amazing headspace and in a great foundation in order to start the day. Thank you for sharing that. And also manifestation is so important. So try a dream board and positive affirmations. That's great, Candace. I love that you're doing that and that you're sharing that right now. Taryn says, we are educators, but not made for school teachers. It is so different. I do like when you use the analogies for hair as well. So, I figure whatever analogy gets the point across. I used to help, I had somebody who I dated years and years ago who had children, and I was helping them with math homework, and I knew that they hated it, hated the math homework. But you know what they loved? They loved basketball. basketball. And so I was teaching them how to think about basketball, or how to think about mathematics in terms of basketball. And I think it went really well. They say it went really well. So there was that. And so I think that that's great. Thank you for sharing that. Lots of positivity about the brands being helpful. Thank you so much. And Franz, life has given you more time to spend with your loved ones. For a lot of you, that is the boat you're in, and for some of you, we know that it has actually prevented you from being able to spend more time with your loved ones. And so for that, I just say, stay strong, stay connected, and I know that we will get through this. I can promise you we will get through this. And if you've joined us before, we started something a couple weeks ago, which I really love, which is getting questions from all of you. That's right. You send in a video with a question, and we are able to, right here on the spot, give I'll say our very best answer. In some cases we can refer you to something, but we try to give the very best answer. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and ask that we go to one of our questions from the field. This is not a question from the field, but I'll take it. This actually is Michelle Marshall. So Michelle, I'm going to ask you, what question do you want to ask me? Hi. Well, Michelle was there for a second, and I think, let's see what's going on here. I just roll with it. I roll with
Hi,
these
my
things.
name is
Here's the question.
Gabriella from Fox and Jane Salon in New York City. Before this pandemic, pre-booking clients for follow-up appointments helped stylists to organize their schedule and set it up for future success. My question for you is, how can we go above and beyond to not only ensure that clients feel comfortable in the salon, but that we really exceed their expectations during this pandemic in order to retain those clients? And how can we effectively cater to each individual's specific hair needs as well as financial needs?
Excellent questions from Fox and Jane, one of the salon chains here in America. And in fact, actually, I have a book here. I was going to share some books with you a little bit later, some of my favorite books. And this is Lorraine Carnes. And she is the owner of Fox and Jane. She has several locations, and she has this book called How to Cultivate a Lasting Culture. And so thank you so much for sending in the question. And there were a few things that I'd like to address there. The first is as it relates to pre-booking. So we said it earlier, I'm going to say it again, which is that in order to pre-book your clients and to give them, to manage their expectations and to manage your expectations, you have to do that video consultation before they go back. You need to understand where their hair is at right now. You need to understand what it is that they'd like their hair to look like. And you need to make an assessment based on that. In some cases, you may have a client who has taken their shears or their color brush to themselves, or had a family member take their shears or their color brush to them. And what happens there is, first, you want to make sure that there's no judgment. You want to bring them back with love, right? You want to say, great, I see that this is, what's gone on. So let's say they've done box dye on their own. We know that there are several things that could have happened in that scenario. One, they could have hot roots, whereby the color wasn't the right color and their zone 1 or their regrowth is now lighter than the rest of the hair. It could be that they put it on not only just on the regrowth, and I'm guessing that this is going to happen a lot, but it went a little bit further than the regrowth. And in that case, they may have two things going on. They may have a lighter root and a band, or they may just have a band. And so in any of the cases, we know that there might have to be a situation whereby there is color correction. Okay, so we have to see what's going on first. We have to understand where they want to go, and we need to be able to manage what their expectation is. And it could be that either A, they're able to come in hopefully that they'll come in and they'll have their hair done on that first day. If not, just like if they came in for a color correction pre this crisis, we knew that it would never be completely done in one session, and that we had to manage their expectations of how to get from here all the way to their dream hair. So it's no different. So I would say the first thing for my friends from Fox and Jane is just making sure that you're doing the video consultation, which I know that Lauren has put in place, and then also making sure that you are setting up the client's expectation. The other reason you do the video consultation is to find out what's going on. We have this thing right now in our minds that all of our clients are going to have financial hardships and that we need to lower our prices. And I want to please beg of you, do not do this. Okay. Do not automatically lower your prices when you don't know what's going on. So, it's why you want to speak to your client and you want to hear from them and you want to understand what exactly their situation is. Now, we've all been in the situation where we've had a client that has maybe they're a college student and yet we wanted them because we wanted them for referrals, etc. And we worked out a little bit of a payment plan for them. It could be that you want to maybe split up what their payment would be over several future appointments. I was going to call them, I don't know what I was going to call them, but appointments. And so that might be an opportunity. But from a financial perspective, it's actually a very good time for us to right size the what we're charging. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to just first, everybody take a deep breath in with me. Hopefully you're doing it at home, and out. One more time, because what I'm going to say is going to be interesting. In and out. And here's the thing: supply and demand. Supply and demand. We all have heard that the very first place that our clients want to go when their lockdown is lifted is the hair salon. So if you are in a place whereby you have wanted to raise your prices for some years, okay, but you've been afraid to, whereby you are maybe the less expensive of salons that are around you, okay, whereby you've given a lot of discounts to people as they've come in. I would say that if somebody is coming in, you want to retain the clients that want to have their hair done. And I would invite you to take a look at your prices and to really identify what it is that you think the right price is. And then have your conversations with your stylist, with your clients, excuse me. Then find out where they're at. If you've had a client for 20 years and she is in a financial situation that's difficult, then yes, you may want to work with her, but don't make it an automatic. And I think I answered all the questions that were in that question per se. If not, and you're watching, Gabrielle from Fox and Jane, please type it into the chat box. And for now, actually, I think we are in a position to go live. And so let me just look here, and I've got two ready. So let me find out who is going next, because this is exciting. I'm telling you right now, the people that we have, these next two are going to wow you. They're going to blow your frickin' socks off with their talent. They are both people who inspire me every single day. If you're not following them, as I mentioned at the beginning of this program, please follow them because their work is fantastic. And I am going to just make a call here while I'm waiting for an answer because I see that one looks very ready and we've got another who's maybe messing around with the camera. So I'm going to go ahead and call Michelle Marshall from the UK in. So if everybody could please give it up for Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, SHERI. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Ludovic is in the green room. We're going to wave hi to Ludovic.
Oh, hi, Ludovic.
A little bit. Super excited about that. So, Michelle, I am so excited that you could make it. There's two things that I understand. One is I know that it's 2:00 here, so that means it's 7:00 where you are. So, thank you for hopping on at night with us here.
My pleasure.
And the second thing is, I just heard today is that it's a bank holiday there. So thank you for taking your bank holiday and spending it with us.
My pleasure again. But every day is like a bank holiday at the moment. You know, do you know what I mean? Like, it's really weird to think that it is a bank holiday, but it's our spring bank holiday. So this would be the children are having their week off before their last sort of stint of weeks before summer holiday.
So normally they would have this week off and then they'd go back for a little bit and then they'd have a summer holiday off.
Yes, correct. So that this would be their little interim. And I think there was probably something linked to the church at one time, but you know, all I know is it's always been known as our spring bank holiday.
Okay, well then that's all that matters. So thank you. And you're right. If you are still in lockdown, then it definitely does probably feel like every day is a bank holiday. Michelle, we have many people, JB Daigle, Candace, Lori, Zabel, all saying hello to you and to Ludovic as well. They're super excited. Our friends from all over the world are super excited to be able to join right now. So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, where you're at in the UK, how long you've been a hairstylist, sort of just everything about Michelle.
Okay, cool. Is colorist. I live in a place called Cardiff in Wales, and we're about 2 hours away from London, so not that far. And I've got two salons. I've got one that I've had for 5 years and one that I took on last year. So this kind of situation has had quite a bit of an effect on us, really, because it's an existing business, but it's still new business for me. So that's where I'm at, is probably a lot of development ready for the team to come back, so that we make sure we come back and we come back really strong. And that's where I am from a business point of view. But I've been with Redken for, my first interim to Redken, or introduction to Redken, was when I was about 18. I went to a salon where my cousin was working, and it was the time of cap highlights and the steamer, so everything was bubbling. And I was asked by one of the stylists, could you take this set of highlights off? And I was like in my first week or two of working there. I was still an improver. I wasn't fully fledged, and I was trying to please. So I took this lady to the basin, and it was steaming. It was bubbling. It was frothing. So I put the water on and I looked, and all I could see was hair that looked like wet cotton wool. And I thought, if I take the cap off, there is not going to be any highlights left. So I went to find somebody else that I buddied up with, and I just said, well, what do I do? Help. I don't want to get into trouble, even though I hadn't done it. I didn't want to get into trouble.
Yeah.
So they thrust a bottle at me, and it was PPT. They said, squirt that all over the cap, time it for 10 minutes, and you'll be able to take that highlighting cap off. So I did, and the highlighting cap came off, and the highlights stayed on the hair. So that for me was my first introduction, that I thought, oh my God, if that can do that in that situation, what can it do in other situations? So for me, that was my introduction to Redken, and I've stayed with Redken as a product company ever since.
Nice. I love that story. And I've been with Redken for, as you know, over 26 years. And what I do love is that, I sort of say, well, I don't want to I might get in trouble, but it was the original Bonneter, man. It kept hair on the head. Between that and CAT, which is, stands for cysteic acid treatment, which is like a little mini fake bond builder. It's really, because hair is all about protein, right? Protein and moisture. And so long as we're keeping the balance of protein and moisture, then everything's golden. So awesome. I love that. So as a salon owner, because Michelle, just give a quick overview of the status of the country right now, because you're not open yet.
No, we're not open. And actually, quite interesting, England and Wales and Scotland and Ireland are all doing things completely separate. So we're having an overview from the UK government, but we're moving certain things in different times. So at the moment, we're still in full lockdown. We can take exercise twice a day, but we're still in lockdown. But in England, they've released lockdown more than we have, so that they're able to go traveling, to have walks. They're allowed to go out a lot more, but hairdressing is still locked down. So from a phase point of view, they say it's going to be July before we're back. And hopefully that will be the case, because people need us, don't they?
Yes. Yes, they do. In more ways than one, I think. So
exactly.
In more ways than one, for sure. And I suppose I guess if they looked at it all, like each one of our states here in America is handling it differently as well. So maybe if I just look at it that way, it's sort of similar. So Michelle,
Yes.
What are some things as a salon owner that you're doing to help motivate your team? And then we're going to get into hair, because I think you've got something amazing to share with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, from a team, we're having weekly meetings. And we're just spending a bit of time connecting with each other. And really, I'm baby steps. Like the first week that we met, we all did the Barbicide course the following week, so that we could come back and talk about what hygiene standards. And then we did the COVID-19.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 certificates. And then we started talking really about what we could do when we go back and how we're going to implement them. For me, I think it's about the team. So if I went to them and said, this is what I want you to do, boom, 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 I'm being a bit of a dictator. And I believe if I empower them to feel that it's as important for them to be motivated, and for me to not only motivate them, but for them to motivate me, then we're working together for the same goal, rather than it being very disjointed.
Excellent. Okay. Michelle, I know that you are, for everybody that's watching, what happens is we are in sort of like a holding space that then gets broadcast out to YouTube. And I see that Michelle's sort of looking at her picture here is, it looks like a very fine pixelated watercolor. Like she's had the, but I just want to.
That's my technique.
It's your technique. I want to give you some reassurance that, well, I thought for the most part live you were okay, but I think we're going to be okay. Let's not worry too much about it. And
I'm back.
You're back. There you are. Excellent. Very good. So, it's about not being a dictator, but being a leader, right? Because they are different things. In some cases, when it comes to health and safety, and your country is like, oh God, I have to tell you, I'm married. For those of you that don't know, I'm married to an Englishman, and I've always been like health and safety, like people and health and safety. And now am I not sort of like eating my own words, because I was gonna say I only get upset because I get kicked out of, like, I get in trouble every time I go to the airport is usually what it is that I'm always in trouble, and they're like, well, it's health and safety, ma'am, and I'm like, mm. But
I know,
you guys
I know. We take it to the brink.
You do take it to brink, but you know what? Right now, I'm appreciating that, and I also love that we're kind of dressed the same today.
Well, I thought, seeing as I was having a conversation with you, I thought I should wear sparkles.
Thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. So, Michelle, tell us what you're going to do today, and how, you know, 'cause everybody's ready for you to inspire.
Okay. Okay, cool. So today we're going to look at a technique that you'll be able to use in the salon that is quick and easy to do, so it can be applied in part of the hair or all of the hair, but something that you can utilize every day rather than it being necessarily, I hope it inspires, but also I want you to be able to use it rather than just seeing something and think, oh, that was lovely, but I'll never use it. So I hope it's usable too.
Excellent.
So I'm going to bring my mannequin in. So I'm going to bring her in, and I might have to turn it up slightly so you can see.
She has lovely eyelashes, Michelle.
Look at those.
Right.
So through the one side,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tilt it in. I think the light is blowing it out slightly, so let's bring it in a bit more. Bear with me. Okay, so there we are. That's better. So you can see that I've put a homage to sort of the wedge and Vidal Sassoon in this look. So we've got that darker undercut, but then through the top, where it's more one length, this area is more about surface colouring. So about painting what you see rather than necessarily sectioning and applying it, because as I move through, it's still dark underneath. So it's more about the surface there. And then through the other side, this is more about a placement technique. Sorry, me a little bit of That's better. So you can see that it travels, there's light into dark, into light. And as I move her, all those shades just move. So when I do there, you can see that it's slightly darker in that area. And then it's lighter to the end. So this is more about layering color. So you see stronger panels and softer panels, and there's a merge, but there's also a disconnection. And I'll show you on another mannequin as well, so you can see a alternative. So you can see it in blue, and it might be easier to see it because of the colors in this one. So just through there, you can see it's really strong, but you can see that as I move it, the colors are peeking through, but they're sitting side by side and underneath each other. So as I move it, you can see bigger pieces popping through.
Beautiful.
And these are all inspired, the color shades are all inspired by Pantone. So for people who don't know who Pantone are, they're an organization, and I use things like these cards. So I select sort of shades that I like, put them together, and that gives me a good point to start thinking about what sort of colours would live really lovely on the head and how they might sit together, whether they be side by side or whether they be on top of one another. And it helps me create the next part of what I do is then I'll create them into swatches. So for example, what we're seeing there, all of these are different tones. You can see whether it be slightly limey or slightly darker green going into like a mint green. So I'll start then thinking about what colors have I got in my range, whether it be City Beats or Shades EQ, and I start formulating to create some Pantone shades. For me, when I'm applying color to somebody's hair, I don't want to just take one color off the shelf and put that on. What am I doing different to give my guests or my clients something different? So by customizing every shade that we use, whether or not it be vivid like this, or whether it be very muted and chocolates and browns and beiges, what are we doing different to inspire our guests to have something different?
Michelle, I'm going to stop you for a second because I'm so inspired already. Okay. First of all, I've never seen the big Pantone swatches like that. So can you tell everybody where they can get those?
Oh, so these are from Pantone. They come in a little box.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 100 cards in there, 100 postcards.
Okay.
Of everything. And they come from Pantone itself.
Okay.
So on the back here, actually, these have got on the bottom, it's got chroniclebooks.com.
Okay. Okay, so but the key there is that they're the postcards, and then that way they're big enough,
yes,
for you to be able to play around with and to see how they layer, what looks well together, what's going to work for the look that you're doing. I love that. The other thing that I love, and it hit me like so hard there as what a great idea, is that you create a formula in your head and then you create a swatch and you keep that swatch around as something you can either put next to your client's skin or, you know, to see whether it looks good or not. So instead of just relying on a manufacturer swatch, you create your own formula swatches. How brilliant is that? That's fantastic. High five. High five. Oh, that's amazing.
Snaps.
Yeah, snaps. You know, I'm still I come from the land of hugs and high fives, so I don't think I'll get
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so another thing I might do to it for it, you know, like with the Pantone and where I get it from, is that then I might do some research to see. So I know the rings aren't really doing this very much justice, but you can see that then I might start to create a Pinterest board, utilizing the Pantone shades. What am I seeing on the runway at the moment? What am I seeing in nail varnish, makeup, whatever I'm looking at? What are we seeing that's going to be most around us that we know then that's potentially going to be a trend? Right. So then we can potentially latch onto something that we know our guests are seeing. So if our guests are seeing it, then we know that they're already susceptible to us talking to them about it, because they're already seeing this themselves. Yeah. So they're a bit more open to the conversation rather than maybe saying, oh God, I wouldn't wear pink. But if they're seeing lots of pink around, they'll be more open to thinking, oh, well, I've seen that. My friend's got that, or I've seen that on television. So it starts making them more open to what you want to help them with or create or whatever you want to do with their hair.
Excellent. Very cool. I love it.
So from a technique, and I've got a board that you'll love. If you love my swatches, I'll show you a board after. But should we get on with the technique? Because I'm afraid that I can talk. SHERI, I could talk to you forever. So,
don't you worry.
So let's get her in there. So I've prepped a head already. Get her around. So I've prepped this short little mannequin, and if I take her off to show you, it's a really short little bowly cut. So for this, sometimes when we've got somebody with short hair, we might think, well, we're a bit restricted in what type of color palette or what type of color technique we could use, because we might be worried about it looking too stripy or too old-fashioned. So what we could do to give somebody a little just a small amount of color, not necessarily a lot. So I've got two techniques in one to share. So this section that I've already isolated out of the way is my foiling technique. So that's the one that you saw on the top of the short haircut and on the front of the blue. So that's my section out of the way. But when we look at the bowl shape, pop my gloves on, make sure I'm health and safety.
Good job.
So I've got a few shades, and I'll show you the shades as we're going on. So I'm going to pop this one on. So this is like a limey colour. And once the haircut is all blow dried into place, it might not necessarily be that you're going to go through it and colour underneath there. You might, but you might not. It might just be that you need to look at the surface and give the surface some shape. So I'm going to go over and just paint over the top. So I'm just concentrating on that top, and I'm not worried that it'll seep through slightly, because it'll only go through on the layer underneath, because of my touch. If I was very heavy and put loads of product on, then it's going to really push through. But because I've got quite a light touch, and that's the hot tip, that's the secret, is that light touch, it's only going to affect the surface. Then I would apply that all the way around. And then I would take an accent colour. And for me, this accent colour is like a pinky red. And then I'm going to look at the shape and just apply that in areas. So that is just kissing the surface. So now the pinky red colour will sit on top of the greeny tone, and that, or the lime tone, and that'll affect it also. So you're not just getting what you're putting on, you're also getting the mix of the two colours together. So you're just creating more of a marbly, mottled effect on there that can either be in as contrasting as lime and pinky red, or it could be as subtle as something like beige with a bit of gold. But it's just creating a nuance in the hair, so that when somebody is looking at their hair, they're looking at their hair and thinking, oh, what's that? Yeah, that's interesting. What's going on there? So it's more about creating that interest.
Yeah, excellent.
And I would just, with that, technical. Sorry, my headphones have just done a malfunction. No, can you still hear me, Sherry?
I can hear you. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. I'm just going to put it into my ear and just. Okay. So I would then follow that all the way around, so that all the way around it would have different shadows and different shapes on it to create the effect of that sort of mottled, marbled. And I'll bring the head back in. Just swap that over. When I bring the head back in, I'm going to bring it, tilt it in. You can see it there. Yeah. So as I tilt it, not on this part, but it's more on here, where as it goes round, these are beige and there's little accent areas.
Wow, that's great.
So it's creating highs and lows and shadows. And that's what that will create. Very speedy, because you can cut and blow dry that person's hair and add it in. So then from what we need to do now, having to think about quicker techniques that we can add some inspiration to our guests, but without it taking 12 hours to do, we need to come up with lots of different things like this. And then my next technique, I'm going to take that section, and this is about looking at the shape. I'm using a triangle. It's when the hair naturally falls, it's going to fall forward, but I'm going to apply the colour at the back so that I'm utilising that over direction and utilising elevation, so that everything that I bring back and apply, when it falls forward, it's going to be softer. So I'm utilising the principles to my advantage.
Nice.
And then I'm going to start here. And that's my first section there. Okay. Put my foil under. I'm going to take that limey colour and I'm going to start it. So this is about creating shapes on the hair that blend slightly, but also have some contrast. So it's that whole 80s, 90s revival where everything's going for more bigger, bolder, stronger, and more contrast, rather than we've had so much blend for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to apply that so that it's going to tap up to the previous section, but I'm going with a diagonal line. So where we might normally melt those two colours together, this is about keeping this contrast in. So I want that to be strong and lime green. I want this to be strong and to be my pinky red shade.
Mm.
But I want to have some sort of fusion rather than there being a harsh line. So rather than me blend,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go side by side. So I'm just blending this window.
Mm.
So I'm creating a fusion rather than a melt. So
Mm-hmm.
they've got strong and isolated, and a fusion in the middle.
Excellent. Beautiful.
And then because I'm not putting a base colour on, I would just soften that in. I love using these little sponges.
Mm-hmm.
Just get them from like a stationery shop. But just by using the sponge, it just softens that in there where I know I want the blonde to be my base colour. And then I'm going to, remembering I'm forward diagonal. So I'm going to go with the next one. I'm going to over direct that back. Sorry, that's it. Bring that down. And then this time, the same formula, but whereas I went that way, I'm going to go the opposite direction. And the other section was slightly higher and forward diagonal. I'm going to go the opposite direction and slightly lower. So there's a little bit more of the green and a little bit less of the pink. Okay. And each time that I'm applying this, I'm varying on the head how far up or how low both of the colours go, so that you get that distracts the shape when it falls forward. So whereas I've got a strong line here, I've got a strong colour here, and only a fusion. Once they lay over each other, they distract again.
Mm.
And then up again. So you keep going with this all the way to the front. And vary the shape. Now this time I'm going to go in with my darker shade at the top, and this time I'm just going to go in with it being horizontal.
Do you have birds in your yard, Michelle?
Go up to the line. Can you
Yeah,
hear
they're
this?
so
Yes,
sweet.
I do. We're right. We live right next to them. Are they sweet?
No, it makes me feel like you're a Disney princess. princess. You know how in Disney movies the princess is
Does
walking and there's all these
it?
birds.
I was doing a webinar for Redkin last week, and the birds were tweeting, and a couple of the attendees said, "Oh, we love the birds tweeting."
Yeah.
It just really brings, doesn't it, this whole like working from home and sort of trying to make something out of a situation. It's actually quite nice, isn't it, that people are working from home and you're inviting people into your home.
Yeah, for sure. So Franz, Lori, awesome job. Franz asked, are you changing the angle and how far you color? And Lori's Abel jumped right in and said, she is. Thank you very much, Lori.
So I'm going to work horizontally again, just like the last one, but the last one was just this size section, so about 2.5 centimeters. On this one, I'm going to drop it down so it's a little bit lower.
And what makes you choose whether you're using a diagonal forward, a diagonal back, or a horizontal placement?
Nothing. There isn't the reason being, I want variety. So the more variety you can make, the more fusion you'll get with the colors. So they'll be bold and strong, and yet there's some sort of softness because of the way you've placed them on the hair. But for me, it's more about varying it. So if I've gone in with the forward diagonal, next time I don't want to. Right. I must make sure I do a different line. So the more you vary it and the more you don't think about it, the better, because it's more that it's happened rather than it being too contrived and look too perfect. Yeah. There's something about something being perfectly imperfect.
It's really amazing. It reminds me of sometimes you'll see those faux fur, those bright colored faux fur jackets. And when you move your hand through those, it's like the colors just all pop differently. And it's really beautiful.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
It's really beautiful.
Soften that there. And I'm going to take the next one.
So I think,
and you can use this. Yeah, go, sorry.
Well, I'm seeing on the screen a little bit of some pixelation. Again, it actually looks like you're. Yeah, it looks like
in the green room.
technique in the green room. Yes, there's pixelation in the green room. So let's see. I don't know that it's shown up on our regular screen yet, but I can still hear you. So just
okay. Shall I keep going? Or should we wait?
Let's see. I'm not getting any messaging from the team in the back end that are in the green room, so I'd say keep going.
Okay. So with this technique, I'm using city beats, but you can use any of your direct dye. You know, I know that there's a lot on here from Matrix as well. So whatever semi-permanent direct dye color that you use, you can utilize this technique. You can use it, you know, with demi-permanent as well. I just find for the screen and what we're doing today, it was much better. It was much better that we use these colors particularly so you can see them. But if I was working in the salon, I would definitely use Shades EQ for the same technique. I just know that I would be, I know where I'm placing them and I know how I'm merging. But from tonight, it was more about you being able to see the technique and the colors on the screen. Well, sort of sort of, but because I was doing it at home and I did it myself, I could only go with one colour and layer it with what I had already. So on mine, I've done a self hairstyling version. I don't think I could have done this on myself. We need a professional to do this. Oh yes, absolutely. And then I'm going to go the opposite way. And it's a so if it was going to be with something like a semi-permanent, there's a direct dye like this, then this is something really more for an event rather than it being for longevity. So it's more for the person who wants to change it often, because we know that this is only going to last maximum 12 shampoos, so we're not going to get any more out of it. So it's more for fun. If we wanted it to be for it to last longer, then Shades EQ is going to give us more longevity, or whatever semi-permanent colour that any of the people watching use is going to give them more longevity. But this is more about fun rather than necessarily about permanent commitment. And then you see I'm horizontally on this one. And just making sure the saturation is really good, so that there's enough colour on there so that we're getting right the way through. And you can see as when I feel like I need to check that saturation, I'll turn my brush vertically and press it through any areas that I see more hair, just to make sure, before I then go from side to side. And then another really pretty thing to do with this is if you're applying it to a colour that you've already created, like this is my base colour and I'm not going to do anything to that, that's my overwhelming colour. Here and there, it's really lovely if you don't necessarily put the other colour on. And I'm just going to go with the lime colour in the middle and then use my sponges just to soften either end and intermix the base colour into the technique, so that would create just a bit of interest there, so that rather than that technique just being all two different colours completely from the base colour, this will introduce it so there's a bit more of a marriage between the technique and the base colour. And then on the next one, I'm just going to go across and I'm going to put the pink. And with pink, exactly the same. I'm just going to soften those edges, really light, gentle touch, so that I'm not pressing it through too much. I'm just softening the edges, but leaving some of that blonde.
Yeah, nice.
The root area.
Nice.
And almost my last one. And if this last section was quite near the front, what is really lovely to do with that, and I'm just drop that down a little bit more, is to actually go into the root of just the part that's right near your hairline. This isn't, but it would be if it was right near your hairline, and just touch the darker shade or the lighter shade right into the scalp area. So you create a little shadow right by the hairline.
Nice.
And then back up for this one. All the way up. And then right up to the line. Now, a hot tip just where we are, rather than overlapping and blending, I'm just going right up to the line. And if I feel at any time I haven't got enough colour on, I'll go back in, just put a little well of colour and a well of colour here. And then take my brush and go side to side. And make sure I'm happy with that little fusion. So now, just to recap, we've got one colour that keeps isolated and our second colour that keeps isolated. And then we've got almost like a window, like a light beam or a shine line of the merge of the both. But no up and down, because we're not melting. It's always side to side. So we keep those colours individual and strong.
Excellent.
And then if I turn her around, you can see as that is developing, it's creating almost like highs and lows just by layering it on top of them. That works so wonderfully. If you've got somebody that's like a golden blonde, so they've got a nice short little haircut and they're golden, I might shadow the root with like a brunette, keep it gold, and then just here and there smudge on some slight coppery shades, so that then you just get those golds and coppers and apricot shades shining through.
Nice. Michelle, do you have some hot tips? Because I can imagine, I'm sort of picturing myself doing this for the first time. And I can imagine like all of a sudden it looking like I've just got these blotches, right? And because if I'm just sort of doing this thing on the surface, how does one keep themselves from looking like they just blotched color onto the head?
Great, thanks, Sherry. So that would be down to your brush.
Okay.
So I've cleaned off my brush so that I've got not got a lot of colour. You don't want this.
Right. Okay.
That will definitely give us splodges.
Okay.
So I would scrape your brush off. Take a clean brush if you can. And just take a small amount. Ignore that because I'm going to wipe that. Just take a small amount so that when I come to paint, I'm just going to apply it. Can you see where my brush is flat?
Yeah.
It's not pointing that way. So I'm not pressing and pushing, but I'm flat and mirroring the hair. And then as I press, I'm not pressing firmly. I'm just letting it glide lightly. It's a real light, gentle touch. And then stop.
Okay.
And if you see like there, that's enough. Because the colour is developing underneath. And all you want is little, like almost like little nuances of colour. You don't want big stripes or big bold, like big squares of colour. You don't want it to look like banding.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think that's, banding all over the head. No. Very
and
good.
I mean, this sort of thing is beautiful for curly hair because not only when you press it, the curls will come up and out from there. You'll have like little kisses in the curls.
Excellent. And so how would you, if you have somebody who's darker, like myself, let's say, how would you approach doing their hair with this technique for the first time?
So for the first time, if I would use some lightener, but probably go in with something that's more for freehand, more of a clay lightener that's going to sit where you press it. And I would get my hair styled into whatever, like for this little bowl cut, and I would do exactly the same with the lightener, but just kiss it over the top, let it lift, rinse it, blow dry it again, and then go over with my shades over the top.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Very good. Well, we've got lots of comments. Lori Zabel says it's like an abstract painting. I think that this is an amazing approach to something that can be very real world when we go back, and how to give interest and inspiration to our clients in a very quick amount of time. Again, I know you did your own hair, but your own hair has always been so inspirational and interesting to me. It's just, you sort of go like, how did she do that? Like, what sectioning did she use to do that? And yet it's so beautiful. So I love that. And I love that you've shared that with us today. For anyone who's maybe just joined us, or if you don't remember at the very beginning where Michelle started was with her Pantone colors and this amazing approach that she does, whereby she uses the Pantone postcards and puts them together in different combinations to come up with the look, the colors that she's going to use on that particular client. She also creates her own swatches by coming up with formulas and creating the swatches. Show us that one more time. So great, Michelle. It's so awesome. So awesome. And you have some more natural ones too, you were saying, right?
Oh, yes. So I'll just bring this in. This is a great tool. We use boards in the salon, and we have these swatches. We have them on rings, but also we sometimes have them on boards. But because I've had to set up this little studio, I've used some canvases. I've sort of had to figure out what I'm going to do. So I brought this. So I've made... It's not going to fall. That's place. So I've got an easel. I bought a canvas. Or I had a canvas actually. And then I've created the shades. And actually I had a box of wig pins that I had in my shed, which I've turned into a studio. I had some canvases. I had the easel from the salon, and I created lots of different swatches with this is with Shades EQ, but so that they're really nice natural swatches. One, for me to be able to do some of the webinars, but two, for us to be able to create something that we could potentially use in the salon.
Yes.
Because for us in the salon, we found that when we started putting boards like this up, more people were having creative color. And that was only because they were there for them to see. And almost it was like a menu that they could think, well, oh, there's a lovely shade. You know, when somebody doesn't want to ask you something unless they're invited to ask you something, having the boards up almost gave the person the option to ask, because they could see they were there. They know they were on the menu, so they could say, well, oh, I love that color over there. And they know that you'll start talking about it to them. Whereas maybe that particular person, even during consultation, it may never have come up that that's the kind of thing they'd like to go for, because perhaps they thought that that was something they could never have. But because they're out, it's giving them inspiration of something they know we can create also.
Amazing. Yes, because they've seen that you've done it. I think that's amazing, Michelle. What a great idea. I was thinking sometimes you go to those restaurants that have an obscene amount of food on their menu, and I just usually pick whatever has the picture with it because it's like, oh, I don't even know what any of this is. So I find the picture with the food that I like, and that's what I go for. So so it's sort of like that. You want to give a visual then to your clients so that it can, and also sort of just be in their environment so that it inspires them to want to want to have something new and exciting. I love, love, love this. I loved your ideas. I loved your technique. We've got Ludovic in the back has loved your technique as well. I think it's super inspirational, super amazing. And I know he's in the green room giving you kisses. So please, everybody, if you're not already, please make sure that you're following Michelle. She's at Michelle_Marshall. Take a little photo of of her Instagram right now so that you can make sure she's following you. She's got beautiful work on her Instagram and continues to inspire with these great things. Michelle, I know that as you go back to the salon, you're going to have a lot to share with us as well as what that experience is like, because as a leader, you pay it forward. And I just wanted to say thank you for all you do to support the industry. You're absolutely amazing. And I'm super honored that you took this time to be with us today, even on your bank holiday, and even though it's so late. So kisses, lots of love to you, Michelle, and I hope to hug you one
right
day
back
soon.
at you.
Thank
Yeah,
you very much.
absolutely. Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you, Michelle. So that was amazing. That was Michelle and Michelle Marshall from the UK. I've always admired her hair color work from the first time I saw her, and just I really feel actually like a fine wine. She continues to get better and better at all of the things that she does creatively. Like honestly, not only inspirational, but it's not one of those techniques, even though it looks like one of those techniques, whereby you're like, hey, that had to have taken forever. It had to have so much sectioning. It had to be so complicated. Not complicated at all. In fact, something, so long as you take those little hot tips that any one of us could do and any one of your friends could do in the salon. So please pay that forward and have your friends also follow Michelle. So in a minute, we're going to go over to an amazing man, Ludovic Beckers. But before that, let's get another question from the field.
Hi, my name is Liv, and I am a hairstylist at Curl Coven in Nashville, Tennessee. And my question is, should my pricing structure change once I reopen my salon? And if so, how should it be changed?
And I think I'm going to have to go to the Curl Coven. It seems like that is a place I need to visit. She had great curls. I'm definitely struggling with how to continue to manage mine as it's growing or whatever it is that it's doing. But just to reiterate, in case you missed it earlier, we did talk a little bit about pricing. And there is some of what I'm hearing out there is there's this desire to want to reduce your prices because you have this thing in your head that I've been struggling, so everyone else must be struggling. And I'm going to beg of you, I'm going to implore, please, please, please do not do that. Please don't do that. We are essential. Anytime, that comes up and we say that we're not being considered essential, we are essential. We know we're essential to our clients. We know we're essential. We're one of the industries that we continue to hear is going to be the first place somebody visits as soon as lockdown is over. And in fact, we've seen from our Thursday evenings, Old Fashions and New Business with Braden, that so many of his clients have come in a little nervous because it's the first place they've gone since the lockdown started. There is a demand for us. There's a demand for us to be in the lives of our clients, to help make them look beautiful, to help make them feel beautiful, to help hear about what they've gone through and be their supporter as we are every single day. And, as hairstylists, a lot of times we get ourselves into this situation where we feel bad. Okay, we're very empathetic. I think that's amazing. I love that about us. And yet we make up stories in our mind that we think that somebody can't afford to pay it. And so we start to give discounts. We discount our work. We discount how much we're afraid to charge what we are worth. And I really, now more than ever, really want you to have a think about you as entrepreneurs, right? You as business owners, whether you are a business owner of a salon with stylists that work for you, or whether you're a business owner on your own, or whether you're just managing as a renter, an independent contractor, whatever it is, please, please, please do not discount yourself. Okay. Now, again, the video consultation, super important. because then you can hear. If you've had a client you've had for 20 years, you've been there in every situation with them from, you know, maybe the time they first got their very first haircut till the time they got engaged, and you know that them and their situation is quite desperate. That's the when you have an individual conversation and you work out what's right for that client, but also what's right for you. Right now should be the time that you are right sizing your prices. If you've been, you know, discounting yourself against the other salons that are in your area, if you have been discounting your prices because you feel bad, please do not do that now. Please don't do that. Don't assume that people can't afford to come to you, because if they want to have their hair done, then and it's important to them, I promise you that they're going to pay for it. Franz is saying, I think if people are afraid of prices and giving discounts, rather see if you can give them a package deal for VIP clients. Yes, Franz, it's a very, very good way to look at it, is can you do a package deal? But again, don't automatically give deals to everybody. They don't all need it. So make sure you're having that conversation and make sure you're going above and beyond with the value that you provide to them. So I'm going to invite somebody who gives tons of value in everything that they do, from styling, finishing, and in the salon. A really, really talented man out of Belgium who will no doubt inspire you today. And that's Mr. Ludovic Becker.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, Ludovic. How are
Hello.
you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you. Hello from Belgium to everyone.
Yes.
And I'm happy to see somebody again from New York. How are you?
I'm doing good. I feel like I have the benefit because I got to see you last weekend when you were on Sam Via.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've seen you, but you couldn't see me at that time. So I'm glad we get to see each other now. I know you've been super busy giving education all over the place and you know, inspiring people. And I just want to thank you for everything you've done. You always inspire people, but being able to take it live online has been truly amazing. So thank you for being you. I have had this thought though, and I'm gonna out you for just a second, because you know I love you and we work together a lot. And for many years at my shows that I have, I say, Ludovic, you need to use a mannequin. And you're like, no. And now I'm like, Ludovic has had to use a mannequin. So I have had like a little tiny giggle about that over the last couple of months, watching you use a mannequin and trying to, and in my mind they can see it looks amazing. And she doesn't back talk you. You don't have to fly her anywhere. And people can still see the beautiful work that you do. So how has that been going for you?
Well, that's great. But I'm looking actually forward to cut your hair one day.
Right? Like this hair is like, the only thing is, Ludovic, is that I'm favoring longer hair as I get
know.
older.
And actually, I love long hair. Really, I do. And
Okay.
you know that I love you too.
I love you too. I love you so much and miss you so much. I miss hugging. I miss hugging you. I miss hugging all of the tribe and being with the hairdressers. It's definitely a challenge. So Ludovic, tell everybody that's watching and that will come back and watch later, because this stays up on there. Tell everybody a little bit about your business in Belgium and just, you know, about you.
Okay, thank you. So actually, I am working on several different grounds. So I have a salon. We are now in the salon. And I work today. So we restarted last week, Monday. Next to that, I'm having Curvo, the brand, which is actually, this is my invention, the comb. So we make this with Curvo next to scissors and everything. And I'm an international educator for the best brand in the world, Redken. And I have actually, I brought a surprise for you today. Because, you know, I have prepared some shapes for you. And, you know, you never can do it by your own. You need people around you to be successful. And one of the people that makes my work more successful is Sarah Lismont. She's my color specialist. And actually, she came over from another city just to share some ideas with you. And Sarah, please come in.
Oh, great. Hi.
So actually, in Belgium, we say that she is in my bubble. So we are allowed to be with 5 people, so that we know that we don't get infected by others, which actually
Yes,
sounds a little bit
great.
stupid, but here she is. So I'm going to call
Oh.
her back when she has to explain some color. All right.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. Thanks for being here.
Welcome.
Wonderful. I don't know why I look around like I'm going to be able to see them walking away, but it's so silly. All right, Ludovic, what are you going to share with us today, babe?
I'm definitely going to share some haircutting, and if you want, I can talk a little bit about the experience of restarting the salon, because I heard what you were saying, and really, guys, SHERI was saying that we are essential, and it's nothing else than that. We are so essential. In Belgium, the government, they were closing us as last profession. And actually, we were a little bit angry about it because we deserved the same treatment as other professions. And, I talked with prime ministers, and they told me that they were afraid if we would close, that it would become a real crisis in the mind of people. Can you imagine that? It would become a real crisis if we would close. So I asked them, okay, first I said to them, well, that's the biggest compliment that we can have, but at the same time, it means that we are very essential. And they said, yes, you are. And now, on television, before we restarted, like for 2-3 weeks, they were talking only about a hairdresser, only about a hairdresser. No other profession had so much buzz around it as hairdressing. And now people are standing in a row to come to our salon. There is no other business so fully booked as the hairdressing business. So you have to be aware of that people need you. And it's not only for the hair, but they need you, really.
Yeah.
So don't give reductions. Raise your price, because you have to do a lot of things to improve your hygiene. Hygiene is the new luxury. Remember that. So you have to raise your prices to give all the luxury and also the hygiene that they deserve. Just wanted to share that.
No, thank you for sharing. I actually got chills, and I want to make sure everybody again understands. So before the lockdown, the hair salons were in the last phase because the government was worried that if they closed hair salons, it would create sort of panic with the public.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's
it
amazing.
Is. It sounds actually surreal, but it was reality. Really.
Yeah.
So actually, the only thing I can say is that from something bad, something good comes out. And in Belgium, all hairdressers discovered the value they have. Nice. And actually, I can say that 90% of the hairdressers raises their prices after they restarted.
Amazing. And so you've restarted for this last week.
Yes.
And so how has that experience been for you, the clients, and your stylists?
Actually, that was the best experience in my life, because people coming to the salon, even if they, we have to wear the mask and everything in Belgium, but you could see all the smiles, you could see it by their eyes if they smile. And like everybody was like, it was like a candy shop, like everybody coming in, they were so willing to give everything to have the hair done and to be back here. So it was, even if they left, they were so happy. It's hard to explain, but like we have to work our asses off, but it gives so much satisfaction. It was the best experience ever. Actually, we restarted hairdressing. That's how it is.
Yeah. It's a whole new world, and
yes.
And it with that energy and that perception, it sounds like, from the Belgium hairdressers, that it is a whole new restart of the industry. So everyone that's watching, please share that advice from Ludovic, and that sort of realization that every stylist in Belgium, 90% of them raise their prices. And most importantly, they realize their value. And I think that that's really important. We've struggled throughout the years, and some people more than ever, to sort of realize their value, or how valuable we are as hairdressers, sort of earning our place in society as being a profession. And it sounds like now we have that opportunity to do that, but only if we come back as professionals. We have to
Yes.
come back as professionals. So
Definitely.
um
Definitely. That's
some good hopeful things
yes.
out there.
Yes, and really, I told hairdressers in Belgium, we get so much value from the people outside, because like everybody wants to go to the hairdresser anyway.
Yeah.
So you have to be aware of that, and you have to be even more professional to make, to convince them that they were right. They are right. So yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Ludovic. I think it's such a strong message, and it's so good, so good.
Okay.
So we'll continue to help other hairdressers know their value, and knowing your value is definitely not reducing your prices when you go back. Exactly. Okay. So
Yes.
let's see some of these famous, infamous Ludovic Becker shapes.
Well, first I want to start with Sarah. She's going to do a short explanation of the colors, because there is like styling and color, it really needs to be together. It has to be a beautiful fusion. So Sarah, please come, and you can start by explaining some of your amazing work done with Redken colors.
Oh, beautiful.
So this one is the first shape we will see. So I added first a shade coloring on it, on a base like 3V. And after that, I saw Michelle before. She's using the brush too, and I love the brush very much. So I took a lot of layers, and then I blend the color in it. So I first bleached it, and after bleaching it, I added the colors, the city beat colors on the spots. So actually, it was like, when you zoom the camera out of then you can see a lot, a kind of city lights, and that's what I wanted to achieve with this color.
Ah, yes, yes.
So what she wants to say is, sorry, SHERI, what she wants to say, if you zoom out with the camera, city lights become more blurry. Yeah. And that's the kind of effect that she wanted to do.
Yeah, I love that. So just so that I understand, you first put the 03 RV on everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
And then you created spots with a decolorizer.
Yeah, actually, then I rinse it off, I dry it again.
Yes.
And then I take like 3 centimeters from above to here. And I play with some layers. Yes, 2 inches. And I play with some layers to make the deep in it. The deepness.
Nice. Beautiful. I absolutely love it. And so then after you decolorize, then you went in and you put the different colors on top of what was decolorized. See, I think I can do something like that. I can't wait to have my hair done. And I have to ask Sarah, do you have a mustache do you have a tattoo mustache?
Yes.
Let me see.
Show it to the camera. Show it to the camera.
So cute. I know somebody on the Wolf and White team.
She is cute. So I'm gonna share a little bit about the haircut.
Yes.
As you can see, there is it's actually a disconnection, and it's a real disconnection. But there is also some connection in the shape, because if I start combing the hair down, it becomes a lot softer. So I used some invisible layering on top of the hair, but which I will explain later in another haircut. And as you can see also, so you can really play with that shape, and you will see some really old school graphic techniques, and then the invisible layering on top of that. What is beautiful, thank you. What is beautiful about it is when you play with the shape, the color starts changing also, and that's amazing. You see how soft
Yeah.
it can become, and so there is a lot of layers and possibilities to change the shape.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Great.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. It's
All right.
gorgeous. It's so great. It's like this great combination of very classical lines mixed with anime.
Yes, yes, that's true. So we have another one for you.
Yes.
So Sarah, show them.
Wow.
So this one was inspired on Tokyo, the street
Yeah.
in Tokyo. So as you can see, I put it a black color, like a black blue, the 1001 B from Shade Q on the base. And then I blended and I played with the city beats because I really love city beats. I'm playing with city beats. And actually, when I start coloring with city beats, I always try to figure out some colors that I can mix together. And I love to put some black and some clear in a lot of city beats colors when I mix them. So that's what I achieved with this look.
Well, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So I see where it's quite dark on the back of the neck, right? And then you decolorized as well on the hair that lays over.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So
Yeah,
I
very
will
nice.
explain
Thank you.
again
They're
something.
gorgeous.
Yeah, and yeah, they are, and you are gorgeous too, Sarah.
Yes, Sarah, you are. Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, darling. I give you something for your headache afterwards.
Yeah.
But anyway, the shape is still good, so it works.
Yeah.
So as you can see, we did also some disconnection in this shape. This was actually the shape I created for Sam's socialathon. So how do you say that in English?
Socialathon?
Socialathon, yeah. Well, I
It's a
tried.
made-up word, but he did good.
Yeah, he did very good.
Yeah.
So as you can see, there is I always say that's the kind of a signature look that you see it always coming back in my work. I love the combination of like the softness and the graphic shapes below. And especially in this one, the inspiration comes from Tokyo, from the Japanese girls. They have, this kind of haircut suits really good on their hair texture, and also they love to have the curly effects in the hair. So that's what I saw when I was creating the shape. Whenever we create a shape, we never know where we will end. But when we end somewhere, that's the moment that we will look at it and give it a name. It's like looking at a painting and thinking about it and searching the word for that painting. It's the same with haircuts. Yeah.
Beautiful. It does look like a painting. It's like a fine work of art.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Gorgeous. Yeah, gorgeous.
Okay. So then I have the last one, and that's the one that I'm gonna cut for you, which is actually this one. And I already prepared the back. So it's actually you can see the curved line here.
Ooh, nice.
It's actually, it's a small detail, but details make the difference. So
definitely.
I always say in Belgium, for me, Redken is a VIP brand, and that's how I want to treat hair also. The hair has to feel like caviar. It has to have something.
Oh, that's nice.
It has to have that kind of precious feeling in it. That's very important. Now, if you look at the preparations that I did, so we did cut this part on wet hair, and now we finished actually, and we prepared the pieces in front of the head, as you can see. So we made some red carpet movement in this area and also in that area. And what I want to do, I want to connect the sides with the back, but in a softer way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
It's a different approach. And Sarah, at the same, that looks great, isn't it? Yeah. So as you can see, finishing is also a very important part of creating a shape. And as you can see, that the curl actually follows the movement of the back. Can you see that in the shadow?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want to do now, I want to take the razor and I want to start making the hair lighter. So I'm going to take the razor. I'm using the Casio, which is actually a very good razor. And I'm going to make diagonal sections. And you know, in my education, I learned to work on wet hair, but I also learned to work on dry hair. And each way of cutting has its advantages. But really, you know, the combination is really beautiful. Now, if you look at the section that I took, if I comb it, the shape of the back, you can see that. All right. So that's actually my point of reference. So you see, in this case, the finishing is very important because the finishing has to follow the cut. Now I take it together between my thumb and my index finger, and I'm going diagonal forwards. Now I'm not cutting it straight off, I'm cutting it soft. So I'm keeping my hair here on this part, and as you can see, my shape goes now diagonal.
Diagonal, yep.
Yeah, so that's very important. Now I start combing it and looking how it works. And now I will have some smaller parts below, so just cut them away. That's actually the graduation that you have because you pull it backwards. Okay, but I need these fine parts. That's very important because I want to have some softness in this area. So actually we are creating some longer lengths in front. So again, I make a diagonal section. You know, and when I give a class and when I have these benchmarks, a lot of times people say, I don't know if I can do that. But once we start explaining it, it looks so simple. And I think that's the power of a good haircut.
Yeah.
Like it has to be very simple.
And so you're pinching again and taking a diagonal section. Yeah. Do you have a guide at that point, or you're just sort of eyeballing it?
Yes, my guide is actually my design here in the back. So as you can see, there is a bombage.
Yeah.
That's how we call it. Do you say the same in English?
I think they call it a wedge, but I like boombash better.
Yeah. Well, actually it comes from France. But you know, so you've got this bombage, and that's what I use as a point of reference. So, you know, in my life, I saw hairdressers who weren't really good haircutters, but who had a very good taste in design-wise. And I think, you know, you don't have to always follow the rules of 45 degrees, making small sections and everything. The most important thing is that it becomes beautiful. All right. So, of course, you have to understand the knowledge and you have to understand the terminology. But once you know the rules, it's okay to break them.
That's right. That's right.
And you know me, SHERI, I love to break the rules anyway.
I do.
So, okay, now we pull it back again, and every time you see the same thing, it really wraps around the back. So yeah, I'm going to go closer. I'm going to try to show it more close. Great. So it makes my life a little bit harder, but that is okay. So that's actually my bombage, all right? Okay. And as you can see now, it becomes very fluid. So I wanted to create a kind of feminine graphic shape. So take it together, very soft. Don't put too much tension on your hair. And I'm using the heel of my razor. So I'm not using anything else. So, you know, when you use the razor, you've got the heel and you've got the toe and you've got the middle part. Mm-hmm. So if you switch from parts, your blade stays sharper during, you know, your process of cutting.
And this is that is a Casio razor with no guard.
No guards, yes. Well, actually, I can advise everybody to use a guard because it's actually the sharpness is the same and it's safer, you know, for your work. But yeah, okay, you know, that's like riding tame horses or wild horses. So you can see how that goes. You see how beautiful that fluids. So that's actually what I want to keep. This part.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I love it.
Really keep that. And you see how transparent that becomes together with the curl. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
So
lots of love on the chat box. Ludovic, Ali
thank
says
you.
he loves the shape already.
Thank you, Ali.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Ali is from Sweden, and Ali is also a Redken colorist, and he's amazing. I worked with him a couple of times, and his taste level is also very high. It's actually, you know, a lot of hairdressers, a lot of artists from Redken that I know, you know, during the years, you know, they have such a great level of taste. And I think, you know, sometimes people ask me, where did you get your inspiration from? And, you know, I always tell them, wherever you go, always look with your eyes. And it's not possible to do it with anything else. But what I want to say is that, you know, by looking, you will discover more things than ignoring them. It's like actually a Belgian painter who once said, you know, you don't have to watch trees on a Sunday. They are there every day. Yeah.
Nice.
And that's true. So can you see how easy that was and how beautiful that design is?
Amazing.
So yeah. So we go to the other side and we will see how we finish that up. But look, that's what I like about it. So it's actually very diagonal and it melts beautiful together with the back.
Beautiful.
So now I go to the other side, and that side will be a little, so you see the front, right? So now we go to that side, taking the clips out. And you know, I'm gonna confess something.
This
Okay.
could be dangerous, everybody.
Yeah, I know, but this is not dangerous. This is not dangerous. You know, I love good competition, and competition keeps you awake, right?
Yes.
So I had the opportunity to work a lot of times with my friend Marco Rina.
Yes.
And he's an amazing, fantastic designer. He knows how to a finisher, and he knows how to finish braids and like long hair. And every time when I was giving a class with him, I was kind of thinking, how can I take parts of his work into my haircuts?
Yes.
And you see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
That's actually why I did this. I wanted to make a fusion of these two worlds.
And I think what I love too about it, which actually is interesting, is that you've finished it, and so now you know exactly how it's going to live in its finished manner, how you want it to look, and so it's easier to cut. It's so good.
Yeah, and you know, it's also it's okay to cut it like this because the hair has to be very soft and fluid. You know, and if you have to make a very sharp graphic line, it has to be like clean. Okay, you have to work on wet hair, like I did in the back. Okay, but the combination of the two has a newer feeling for me.
Yeah, you know? For sure.
So that's why I love it. And also, you know, like in the salon, the combination of color, finishing, and design is so important. And you know, sometimes there was a day that a big L'Oreal manager once told, you know, if you want to be successful, you have to surround yourself with the best people. And you know, that's the reason, of course, why Sarah works in my team, because I think she is, as a colorist, she is so amazing.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, we worked together for many years, and the longer you work with somebody, the better your combination of work becomes. So I do exactly the same. I'm just standing diagonal behind my model. And that's actually something I told on national television when we restarted our work. You know, if you want to work safe, try to stand diagonal behind your client or in the back of your client, because you don't talk in the face, you know. So that's actually a very interesting tip for doing that. And I've got something else too. Wait, I'm going to take that. So what we are using in a salon, that's maybe something very interesting, are these face shields. And you know, when we cut a client or we do a color, we just, you know, put them here, so the face is actually covered. You know, it gives a safer feeling.
Yeah, and I think I saw, do you put them on the client when you're shampooing? Did I see that?
Yes.
On
yeah,
Instagram?
You saw that on my Instagram. Yeah. You know, and the only thing I can say, you know, like there is actually a difference between Belgium and Holland. We live next to each other. Like every country has its own rules. Like you talked with Michelle before,
Yeah.
and it's the same. It's the same in the United States. And you know, we are more strict than Holland. Like Holland is more relaxed about safety rules.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But the only thing I can say, when clients from Holland come to my salon, they feel actually very good with the safety
Yes.
prevention that we use in the salon. So I
Yeah.
think, you know, if you want to give that extra service, people will admire you for that. And you know, there are people who have very, very strong boundaries, and there are people without boundaries. But I think you, as a salon owner, you have to make rules in terms of, you know, prevention, and you have to guide your guests during that time.
I agree. It's one of the things that Braden's been sharing. We do Thursday nights at 9 p.m. We do we call it old fashions and new business, you know, old fashioned like the drink, and
Yes.
new business. And Braden Peltier's been sharing, you know, that there's clients who he's gotten new clients because when their clients have come into the salon and commented on the level of safety, health and safety, it's inspired some other clients to want to go to that salon just
Yeah.
because it's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually the same in our salon.
Yeah.
And you know what, Sherry, like everything happening in, like, first it was happening in Italy, you know, the COVID-19.
Yeah.
Then it went to Germany, then it came to Holland, then it came to Belgium, and everybody was acting at the same way, but like 2 weeks later, 2 weeks later, 2 weeks later.
Yes. Yes.
And now with reopening, the same thing is happening again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so the
Yeah.
world is very small.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I think Braden is right on that, you know, like prevention and like hygiene, looking at hygiene as the new luxury is the best thing you can do for now, because, you know, people will feel like they will feel, I'm searching for the word, they will feel precious, you know.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I like precious. Taken care of, precious.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So that's very important. That's what we do, you know. I always say when somebody comes to the salon, they only have one question, and that's help me. But
Yeah.
help me can mean so many different things, you know. And we have to be aware of that.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So now you can see that the shape is, you know, coming in place. So there is some disconnection in the outer lengths. But before I start cleaning them, I just want to make sure that I have a little bit of more layers on top. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stand behind this mannequin. It's beautiful how the color is melting together, right?
Beautiful. Lots of great comments about Sarah on the chat page. And she was with you in France, wasn't she? When I was there, I saw you. When was that? I don't know when that was.
Yeah, we were actually we were in France just before the lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I was so angry because they wanted to stop our class, and I said, no, why do you want? It's just a little flu, you know.
Yes, I remember that actually. Oh, that's right.
So,
you and I spoke about that.
Yeah. But you see how things can change, because now we are in the forefront of being preventive for everything.
Yeah.
And at that time I was like angry. So you see how things change in weeks.
You know, it's hard to know, and you know, we've never experienced this ever in our life before, so it was definitely hard to wrap our heads around, for sure.
Yes. And that's completely true, Sherry. I think, you know, it's new for everyone, also for politicians and everything.
Yeah.
Even though they make bad decisions, but like, okay, don't talk about that.
But, yeah. We don't have enough time to talk about that today.
No,
here.
And actually it's actually everywhere. You know, there is no country, you know, yeah. You know, when we had to restart, they didn't even give us like a guideline how to restart, what we should do and everything. So what we did, we organized a chat with hairdressers, how are we going to prevent ourselves, and how are we going to, prepare our salon to be prepared for the clients. And then, that's how we came to what we do today.
Beautiful. So in the layering, can you just describe what you're doing in the layering for everybody?
Yes, of course. So actually what I'm doing, I'm following the natural fall of the hair, which is important, because if you don't follow the natural fall, I'm going to show it to you. So if I would go more diagonal, I would create like a strong point cutting effect, like a diagonal point cutting effect. I don't want to do that because that's in contrast with my perimeter. Right? So I want to keep softness. So what I'm doing, I'm searching for my natural fall. I'm just following the natural fall. If you want to be more sure that you do it right, just use a shorter scissor, because that gives you more, move freedom. So that's something good. So it's actually a very soft kind of point cutting that I'm doing in the very end. It's just to take away like with using the razor, sometimes you've got too much transparency. So I want to take that away. That's why I did that. So now you can already see that the design becomes more, natural. So I want to create something more to that. So I'm going back to this. Can you see that on the camera? Is that?
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull it down, and now I'm going to connect it to the sides, to the back, sorry. So the back is here, all right? So I'm going to use the point of my scissor, and always, when you use this kind of technique, always search for your balance. So I'm using my hands to find some balance, and I'm going to point cut that very softly, just to connect it a little bit more to the back. Because I want to have that, connection to the back. That's important. And you don't have to make this line like straight, because that's not what we want to achieve, but just a little bit more, connection. That's it. So that's how we connect it. And now you can see how beautiful that comes together. But don't take away the, the fluffy feeling. Like there is a saying, it doesn't mean a thing. That's what we have here. Okay.
Beautiful. Now, Ludovic, can you explain a little bit more about your comb and its uniqueness? Because it's a very unique comb. I love using your comb.
Yeah, thank you, SHERI. The comb is designed to be more ergonomic, so to take away the tension of your wrist. What a comb, like, because of the curve, when you take the hair out, like if I put my comb inside, it's actually the curve that makes the movement. If you have a straight comb, you have to grab more. So you have to twist your wrist more. With this comb, you don't have to do that. There is also, if I stand behind the model, okay, if I want to take a section here, look how that connects to the scalp of the head. You see?
Yes.
So it actually follows the shape of the head. We have a 22-degree curve in it, and it follows always the shape of the head. And you can see that when I move around, how that follows the shape of the head.
Yeah.
So it works more ergonomic and more fluid. And I must say, when people start working with it, like the first moments, they think, oh, that feels a little bit awkward. But then after one haircut, when you go back to the straight comb, it actually, the straight comb feels more awkward.
Yes,
because
for sure.
But I'm not saying a straight comb is not good, because a straight comb is perfect. But I think there are a lot of advantages on the shape of the curved comb.
Well, I mean, first of all, kudos to you for thinking of it, for, having such an innovative idea, and for it being something that helps our hairdressers, because at the end of the day, they are already standing behind the chair so long, doing such repetitive motions, and we know that that's not good for us. So how can we be more cognizant of taking care of ourselves so we can take care of our clients better? And the ergonomic quality or attributes of the comb are perfect to make sure we're taking care of ourselves. So congratulations. It's really, really amazing. Michelle says she only uses Curvo combs.
Yeah, I know. I know. Thank you, Michelle. But you know, I think when I do cutting classes with students, one thing that I'm always looking about is the body position of the hairdresser, because you know ergonomics are actually the most important thing to be successful, and especially when you want to stay long in the business, because that's so important. Body position actually makes your work, your technical work, work better.
Yeah.
You know how you place your body in, like in front of the mannequin head or
Yeah.
the pole. So that's very important. But also, like if you want to take a section, just stand behind. I'm going to put a little bit lower. Okay. So see, that's what I do with my mannequin heads. I'm putting them lower, higher, whenever I need the desire for it, and that's very important, because sometimes I see hairdressers working with a mannequin head and doing like this, and then I say, why do you do that? Because you've got the standard, you can raise them higher.
Yeah.
So use your advantages. But also look, if I stand here and I take this section, just keep your shoulders straight and just use your, you see, so everything stays straight, and I'm standing very classically behind that model. And you know, a very good example is how they did it in the past with Sassoon. You know, these people were standing in a very classic way behind the model, but it's the best way. There is no magic about it. You know, it's the best way to do a haircut. So I think ergonomics is actually, it's the basic of what we do.
Nice.
Yeah. So SHERI, I'm gonna finish it now. So I'm going. Actually, I'm going to go back to the nape area, because that actually was very important. So what I did here, the first thing I did, I made a diagonal section in the back. Okay, because as you can see, there is an asymmetric feeling in the back. You can see that, very soft.
Yeah.
Okay, so I made like a half an inch section, and I created it like below the comb. I created it like that. All right. So after that, I started raising the hair 45 degrees with a lot of tension, and I was cutting it like horizontally, but keeping my scissor diagonal. If you keep your scissor diagonal in 45 degrees, you've got a much smoother effect than when you keep your scissor horizontal, but your fingers 45. Does it make sense?
Do I say it one more time? I want to make sure everyone gets it, because that was like a light bulb.
Yeah. Well, actually, it happens a lot of time. Like a lot of times, people forget the angle of the scissor. But if you raise if you lift your hair like 45 degrees, your scissor also have to be in a 45-degree angle, because if you keep your scissor horizontal, microscopic, it's not going to work. So you don't get the smoothness of the graduation that you want to achieve. Okay?
Nice.
So, and also what is very important is that the humidity of your hair, like the water that you put in the hair, is equal from the left to the right. It has to be equal. Then you have to give a lot of tension, and you have to follow the natural fall of the hair. Don't pull your hair to the sides. Always go natural fall. And you know, when I do this, I keep combing, because combing is your best way of controlling your shape. So, and you know, we go higher and we keep the tension. And even when you go higher, give more tension, like almost hurting, you know? It's
okay.
But you know, you need the tension to get the graduation. And if I keep my head like in the back, I don't know if I can show it on the, you can see how the,
oh wow,
yeah, that's very important. Now, if I hold it like this, you can also see how it connects to the front, you see?
Yep.
And now you can see the design that I created with my finishing to the back.
Yep.
So how that melts together, you see?
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
So that's very important. So when I finished, when I finish this, I'm first going to blow dry that. To blow dry that, I'm going to use the Denman brush. All right. Now the best way to blow dry it is actually wrap blow drying, which means you go to the left and you use the air wind to blow dry it, and then after that you go backwards. You go crossover backwards. Okay. Then you go down, left, right. So actually rapid drying, and that's the best way to keep your hair in place.
Great.
Okay,
Yep.
is that helping you?
It's amazing.
Okay, cool. So now I'm gonna finish it, and first I'm gonna use one of my favorite products, which is the Shine Flash. Okay. So I love to work with Shine Flash, especially on mannequin heads. And actually, before I start cutting on dry hair, I already use some Shine Flash on the hair because it saves the quality of your scissor. Yeah, the product makes your hair more smooth. Really saves the quality of your scissor.
Oh, that's an amazing tip I've never heard before.
Yeah, it's not. Of course, it's not only for the scissor, but it's helping.
Yeah.
In the first place, it's for the hair, but it's always nice to save your tools too. I'm gonna try to put it a little bit closer, so now you can see the details. You see how beautiful this is working and how this shape is going backwards.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. So, and now to give it a little bit more of detail, we're gonna just take out a little bit of these pieces here. I'm gonna use the triple dry. Okay. So I'm just spraying a little bit of that on the hair so that it stands out a little bit more. You see?
Yeah.
You can give some beautiful effects to it. Just keep them a little bit transparent and just blow dry a little bit on the hair. So you actually elevate your design like that.
Wow, it's great.
Yeah. So it's actually
beautiful.
It's actually a technique that we use a lot with with girls with very long hair. And it's always nice to see that coming back in a short haircut. So just take them a little bit out of each other. So what we are doing now, we are making the hair more rich. We are giving it more body. You see?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. You never saw me working like that, isn't it, SHERI?
Yeah. With a mannequin?
Yeah, with a mannequin.
Nope, never.
I'm changing my habits.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's good.
Yeah. I know that they call me the how do they say that, the hard header, something like that.
Hard-headed.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's good because it's good to challenge what's already happening, right?
Yes,
You've got to be a voice to challenge that.
That's
it's also, it's about being able to bring something forward that might be challenging while simultaneously remaining open to what else is going on, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I think especially in these times we have to have a voice, and it's very important. I always thought it was important, but actually when I was young, I was a new waver. Do you know new waver in the US?
Yes.
Okay, actually I was a real new waver. My parents, they had a really hard time with me, and some of that character is still there.
Yeah, that's all right. It's more than all right.
Yeah.
It's what we need. Beautiful.
Can you see?
Yeah.
So actually this is, I'm going to take it off the standard because it's more easy for me to show it.
Yeah.
So as you can see, it's very feminine. You see that?
Yeah.
And the way it's actually going to the back looks very natural. You see?
Beautiful.
Very natural. So, okay, I can take this part a little bit more to the back, like this. I like that, the playing of the hair. Also, I love the, like Sarah, she used a high blonde effect in the front, and then it was more darker green in the back. But somehow it doesn't look extreme,
No.
Totally.
No, it looks gorgeous. Somebody said it looks like a waterfall, which I thought was
it is. So and I want to share something else, a vision that we have. We never talk about classic or avant-garde in terms of design. We talk about avant-garde and classic in terms of feeling. So just an explanation. If you look at this girl, if I would use a lot of gel and pull it backwards and make it really shiny, it would be more avant-garde. If I would finish this like now, but maybe with even a little bit more less product, and the hair would feel like the mohair, you know, mohair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it would be classic.
Yeah.
See, so that's how we approach the words avant-garde and classic. It's more the feeling that you have. It's not putting a design in a box, you know. It's more the way you
Yes.
finish it.
It's yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And having that versatility and flexibility
Yes.
is
Yeah.
amazing
That's
as
it.
well.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's the crowd going wild, Ludovic.
Thank you very much. So I hope you really enjoyed it, and if you have more questions, I'm here for you.
Oh, I loved it, and as did everybody else on here. We
Yeah.
do keep these videos, and they stay up in the long format, and then we cut them into smaller formats. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Everybody who's watching, please make sure that you're following Ludovic at Ludovic Beckers, and all of the amazing work that he does every single day, because while this is over the top inspirational yet usable, the stuff that he has on his page and that he does every single day is just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Ludovic is a part of the Redken network, and so if you have a desire to want to do any sort of online formatting with Ludovic or with Michelle, then just let one of us know and we'll make sure that that happens, because we know that this is sort of the new normal as it relates to education, which we're all excited about. And they can come right to your living room or to your country from their living room, or in this case, salon. So there's lots of amazing opportunities happening for us from an educational perspective to get closer to inspirational beings like Michelle and Ludovic. And Ludovic, thank you again for spending your time, because it's I have to do some math there. Like, it's almost 10 o'clock for you. I know it's the second week you've been open. So I really appreciate that you took the time out to share some time with me and all those that are watching these amazing looks that you and Sarah did. They are truly inspirational, and I'm glad to have gotten to see both of your faces. There she is. Ah, you guys.
You know, SHERI, and I think it's also very important, you know, to give a big shout out to you, because, you know, I know that your heart is in the industry, and it's not only about hairdressing for you either. And, you know, people like you make it possible to have these moments, not only for us, but also for the people watching. And, you know, only these people drive us forward. So I want to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you so much, Ludovic. That means a lot that you said that, and I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you live one day, hopefully soon. And Sarah, I know you'll be there as well. And love you guys both so much. Sarah, if you could just pop over a direct message to me on Instagram, I want to make sure I'm following you.
Okay.
It's actually, it's your Instagram is at Saloox.
Yes, at Saloox.
Yes.
SALOOX.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes, I think I am. I've seen it before. So, but for everybody that's watching, I'm just going to pop this in here really quickly, because I want to make sure that they're all following you. Where's my little @ symbol?
The future.
At, and then it's SALOOX.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So everyone, make sure you're following Ludovic and Sarah. Thank you both so much. Big, big love to Belgium.
Okay.
And let me know if you need anything at all. If you're going to have like a back to business, you know, party, and you need me to DJ it, then, you know, like virtual DJ, I'll be there for you. You let me know.
You know what, SHERI? Come over and be a DJ and bring tons of free products.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, you guys. Love you so much.
Okay. Love you too.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Big
much.
Hearts. Bye. Bye. That was amazing. I know all of you enjoyed it. I could tell through the comments that I'm trying to keep up with here that everybody really, really loved it. You're welcome, Ale. Yes, lots of great things happening over in Belgium. First of all, celebrating that the hairdressers got to go back or are back in a very safe way. Also celebrating the fact that 90% of them have gone back raising their prices. So again, I'm not saying you need to raise your prices. What I'm saying is that you need to really take a look at your prices and understand your value and know that we are valuable and we are essential as hairdressers to the overall taking care of our clients, as well as the economy, as well as so many other things. So please go back, and as you're going back, really take a good look at right sizing your prices. You need to right size your prices and charge what you're worth. It's time that you did that. And I'm also not saying don't ever make considerations for people, but don't make that your go-to. Really take a look at a case-by-case basis and know that there is a demand for women and men out there to have their hair done, and know your worth. There's a couple things that as we're wrapping up here that I just wanted to share with you, unless you have some questions on there. Okay. Fresa 2013. Don't worry that you missed it. This is going to stay on this channel, this R&B channel, and you'll be able to watch it back. So don't you worry that you missed it. It is, however, every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which I sort of shorten it to be like New York City time. I only do that because on my phone, to be very honest, when I'm checking and I'm trying to figure out times in other countries, is you go by the country, right? I don't really look at like, and then it says like today plus 6 hours. So it goes by the city. So I type in the city and I go, that's what time it is there. So 1 p.m. New York City time every Monday right here at Raise My Bar on YouTube. Fresa and everyone, please go and just subscribe. And if you hit that little bell that's next to the subscribe, that gives you notifications of when we're going live and when new content is put up on the channel. So this is Maria from Vegas. Maria, I hope you're doing well out in Vegas, and thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you again on the next one. In the meantime, for everybody, as we go along, we just talked about prices, we just talked about your value, and I just want to reiterate that we got into this business to take care of people, and we got into it, and it's a business. And so there are things that I'm hoping that you're doing right now to make sure that you're taking care of you, to take care of your business in the future. Some of those things are getting with somebody, if you haven't before, that can be a financial advisor. You can find those people online for free that can give free chats as initial conversations, making sure that you have not only your rainy day fund for something smaller for the salon, if you own the salon or if you're an independent, but also what does that rainy day fund look like for your future? How do you start to save for your future? Making sure that you are upskilling, which all of you are, because you're here, you're upskilling as it relates to doing hair behind the chair, but also taking care of yourself. And I just wanted to share a couple books actually that I have been very helpful for me as I continue. There's a lot of them in here, but as I think of my career throughout being behind the chair, being in the salon, as well as my career as a corporate person, at the end of the day, we are people who work with other people. And so being able to manage that is really important, like our communication, being able to seek first to understand before being understood. And so there's a couple books I wanted to share. The first is this one here, 5 Languages of Appreciation in the Workplace. If any of you have not read it yet and you're married or in some sort of a partnership, there is an original book called The Love Languages. And this was an amazing book that was a gift to both myself and my husband when we got married. And it really, I think I went through a couple of years of not reading it and then reading it and realizing some very important communication pieces, which is there's five languages of love, which are words of affirmation, quality time, gifts, physical touch, and I'm missing one. Physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, gifts, and acts of service. And you can take a test online. And what we realized really quickly is my top two are my husband's bottom two, and his top two are my bottom two. So where does that leave us? It leaves us understanding that just like sometimes when I speak to let's call it Ludovic, who's, obviously he's from Belgium. English isn't his first language, and I don't speak his language. And so how do we communicate, and are we being cognizant of what that language is, and in this case, love languages of the other person? So if my top one is acts of service, and that's not the top of my husband's, right? His is, and I come home and the dishes aren't done, then in my mind, I'm equating that to not being loved, which is certainly ridiculous, like at the end of the day. But how do we arm ourselves with this information so that we can, an amazing book, and a number one, 100% recommend this read during quarantine. And so here's this one. This is all about how do you translate something like that into the workplace, because there are different ways that people like to be appreciated. And not only people like to be appreciated that you work with, your teammates, other stylists, but also your clients. So what if you can really quickly assess what is their language? What is their love language? What is their language of appreciation? You can learn to communicate better with those that are around you. So again, the 5 love languages and the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace is another one. And then I would say, I've got a lot of them here, to be honest. Now, this is an oldie. Okay, I'm going to bust this out and just talk about it for a second. It's called The Game of Life and How to Play It, Florence Scovel Shinn. And this is all about positive manifestation, really. It's about, the fact that what you think becomes. And so right now, more than ever, we are being inundated with so much information, not all of it positive. So how do we make sure that our thoughts are clear and positive? I think earlier, somebody had mentioned, and I'll just go back here so I can't find it, but somebody had mentioned doing an inspiration board, and that is part of, Candace, that's part of like this, right? So how do I manifest and focus on what I want versus focusing on maybe things that I don't want in my life? And then I'm going to give you this, because this is what I have not done. How to get your point across in 30 seconds or less. This is great for anyone who's an educator out there and you are learning to do education via these new ways, and doing live face-to-face education is how do you get your point across in 30 seconds or less. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave you. There's a wealth of books out here. I also have French. I'm trying to learn French. Anybody out there want to give me French lessons, like once a week, get on the phone with me for 30 minutes, an hour, I would be so grateful, because that is absolutely one of the things that I'm trying to learn. And with all of that, I just want to say at the end of the day that on this day that in the US, we are remembering those that went before us, who paved the way for our freedom with courage, with strength, and with resilience. I want to recognize each and every one of you who are watching today or who will watch in the future, our hairstylists, who are going through something new that is unprecedented, and doing so with courage, grace, and strength. And to all of you, I just want to send out, on behalf of me, Alfredo, who's not with us today, and the rest of our team, big love to you.